Bon, voilà, on va pouvoir continuer l'aventure Disco Elysium. La dernière fois, on s'était arrêté juste à l'entrée du port où on avait cassé la gueule à un gars. On était rentré dans une salle de sécurité qui s'était refermée derrière nous. Et on devait avancer par là parce qu'il n'y avait pas d'autre chemin. De toute façon, hop, qu'est-ce que c'est ça? Alors, elle permet de récupérer l'eau de pluie. Grosse machine au repos aux alentours. Qu'est-ce que c'est ça? Wild Pine. Des pins blancs sont imprimés sur la bâche. Il y a une forêt enneigée. Moins 3 paquets de mégots de cigarettes. Ok. Est-ce que c'est ramassable? Oui. Hop. J'ai besoin de bouteilles pour me faire de l'argent. Hop. Ok, ici.
This is the night watchman's booth. The name on the door reads René Arnaud.
Ah oui, le militaire qu'on a croisé la dernière fois. Donc ici que travaille René, jetez un œil.
If you must. But please hurry. We are pretty easy to spot up here.
Nothing incriminating catches your eye. The cabinets are clean and their sparse contents meticulously organized. There's a framed photograph on the table. It's a black and white photo of a young couple out in a street fair. The man, René, is dressed in a Royal Carabinieri uniform. The girl is young and very pretty. She is smiling playfully at the camera. René looks like he's about to smile. This photo must be tied to some good memories.
Why did you take that picture of René?
Il suffit que trouver des preuves est une question instant.
Fine, but let's move. I don't want to be seen snooping around here.
Ok. Objet. C'est un couple heureux. Ok. Descendre par là, hop. Qu'est-ce que c'est?
A rusting control panel with several knobs. 2 buttons marked Marche and Arrête are faded with use. It seems to control the large crane above. With a loud grind, the crane shifts overhead, moving a massive metal container through the air.
Ok. Ah d'accord, ok, c'est le temps que la caisse se déplace. Oula, ça va tomber, non? Okay.
And with a surprisingly quiet thunk, the crane places the container down. This crane was built with a purpose, which has now been fulfilled. To move this container. Who can say? All you know is, it's special.
I can't see how that was worth the wreckers, except for seeing the crane in action, which I admit was satisfying.
Okay. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Oh, des sous. On prend l'argent. Y'a un truc ici? Non, y'a rien. Un personne en gauche se effacer, ça peut être fort.
Before you stands a cargo container, just one of many in the yard.
Je crois que le conteneur n'est pas comme les autres.
You do? Because I don't.
Ah, pourquoi pas?
There are a million containers here. Why are you fixating on this one?
Je sais pas, qu'il a juste l'air pas comme les autres.
It's a cargo container, detective, just like all the others. We're not here to interact with containers. We are here to get the body down from the tree.
You attempt to turn the handle, to no avail. The doors seem to be mechanically locked. To your left, the lieutenant considers your actions with some puzzlement. No reply.
C'est la porte de s'ouvrir.
Why are you even trying to open a door with rhetoric?
Parce que l'ouvrir de force est impossible.
Because what wasn't an option?
C'est mon corps à place de mon intelligence.
Now is not the time to get philosophical, detective. You can do that after hours.
Y'a plus rien à faire ici pour le moment. Hop. Ouvre-toi la porte, ouvre-toi. Ah. Chantier naval étrangement paisible, les grosses machines sont endormies. Hop. Pile de sang pour sauver des locaux sur les écrits vermillon. Ok. Oh, la thune. On parle là, silencieux, personne ne travaille. La persistance du pétrole et de rouille, vous pouvez du fossé face à vous. C'est du sang. Non, fan ultra. Est-ce que c'est mieux que ce que j'ai? Affinité mécanique. Clair obscur, ok. Thermos, c'est un énorme café. Un café bowl flotte dans l'air. Ok. Bannière se fait sous le poids de la pluie de neige et vagues blanches. Conteneur, conteneur.
Container, container, I'll turn you nice and red. Container, container, put the logos on. Container, container, used to be Wild Pines. Container, container, now belongs to Everard.
Pas mal. Bonjour.
Everard, 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 he looks after everyone. Huh? Well, hey there. How can I help you, mister?
The look in his deep blue eyes is as sincere as you've ever seen. Kind of makes you feel like an arsehole for no apparent reason.
Ok.
I see you are not a union man, mister. Did you get lost? You're not one of them scabs, are you?
C'est quoi le problème entre le syndicat et les ruffians?
I mean, I don't personally mind. Folks is just folks, you know, and folks gotta eat. Just some of the other guys don't look too kindly on the scabbing kind, if you know what I mean, mister.
Qu'est-ce que vous faites avec les conteneurs?
Oh, I'm just making some covers for them containers here. Yes, I am, yes, I am. So it's easier for the crane operators to spot them.
Ça se passe quoi avec les... Juste regarde les montagnes de conteneurs qui s'élèvent derrière lui.
Everything is so pretty and red. You and Leo look like brothers as you glance around with similar childlike wonder.
Ah, le rouge est bien plus beau que ce vieux fer.
Sure is, mister. Sure is. Really livens up the place. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
I had to break this bonding moment, but the red containers mean they are replacing the company livery with the union livery, which means this strike isn't gonna stop anytime soon.
Ils sont passés les ouvriers, le port est vide.
Oh, most of the guys are down at the gates, keeping the scabs from coming in. We're on a strike. The whole union is. You don't have to work when you're on strike. Ha! We haven't worked for 2 months now.
Ah oui, d'accord.
So no one is working?
Not everyone is down there, of course. Mr. Everard is in his office, where he always is. And Jean-Luc is guarding the gate.
Huh.
But Titus and his boys got into some drunken trouble and Everard sent them on a nice vacation. For a week or so.
Quel genre de pétence forêt du système?
Oh, I'm not really supposed to talk about that. That's union business. Him and his boys stirred up something in town. Probably drank too much and got into a fight or something. I heard Mr. Everett telling them to take some time off.
Aïe 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 aïe.
Don't go all bad cop on this simple, friendly fellow.
Pas méfique avec nous. On fait quoi juste?
I guess the boys got a bit too rowdy and had to let out some steam. I don't really know the details. That's just how boys are, you know. I haven't been in a fight since I was in middle school.
Easy, Leo. Let's keep this on the hard ease.
Je vous regarde pour que vous l'étiez. Un peu trop de qualité. Dans quel genre de bagarre était impliqué? Silencieux. Vous pouvez nous parler de cette bagarre dans laquelle vous étiez impliqué? Non.
Too late. Leo's mouth is still moving, and the words are spewing forth. Words, words, and look, even more words. This guy could go on till the end of days. Now he's talking about some drunk sawmill owner who... No, he already switched to a prized fishing rod he apparently owned at some point. You know what? Just cut in there with your questions.
Qu'est-ce qu'il y a dans le conteneur là-bas? Désignez le conteneur suspendu à la grue.
Oh, that one. That should be empty as far as I know. Lots of containers here have nothing in them. They're just waiting to be loaded up.
Told you.
Cherche du syndicat des dockers.
Oh, you want Mr. Everett then? He's an awfully nice fellow, he is. Him and his brother are both nice fellows. They've lived their entire lives in this here neighborhood. Guys like Mr. Everett and Mr. Edgar, his brother, are real good guys. Made Martinez what it is today. Mr. Everett and Mr. Edgar and I went to the same school we did when we were boys.
Je veux juste savoir où je peux trouver les arbres.
Oh, Mr. Everett is where he always is. In his office, of course.
Ok, je m'en vais prendre.
Bye bye now.
Ok. Intéressant. Ah, du café. C'est moi, j'entends quelqu'un taper la machine. Ah, d'accord, il s'est installé dans des palettes. Dans des trucs comme ça, ok. Poisson empaillé qui donne l'heure, ok.
Before you is a walrus of a man seated behind a large desk. He looks up from his work, not the least bit surprised to see you. With great effort, he straightens himself up in his chair, yet says nothing. He simply stares at you.
C'est vous qui êtes des dockers?
Welcome, Mr. Dubois, Mr. Kitsuragi. It's good of you two to stop
Dubois,
by.
d'accord.
Please, have a seat.
Il y a une minuscule chaîne en face de son bureau, cher.
I'm Everard Clare, head of the Debarders Union here in Martinez. I'd offer you my hand, but unfortunately my health prevents me from getting up. You understand?
He looks extremely comfortable. The tiny folding chair, on the other hand, looks like a torture device.
You go ahead, detective.
Whatever he has in store for you, it can't be good, he thinks. Forget about that. What's with this Dubois stuff? You're getting some seriously bad vibes from that name.
Excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see that you're a reasonable man, and reasonable men can be of great use to one another. So tell me, how can the head of the Debarders Union help a representative of the Revachol Citizens Militia today?
The chair you're sitting on has got to be the most uncomfortable chair in the world. It's violating your backside.
Sérieusement?
Oh, by the way, I heard you got a rather rude reception from a certain Lawrence Gart. Some people have no manners, it pains me to say. This should take care of that nonsense. It should be sufficient to cover your expenses for a few days and patch over your differences with a cafeteria manager. Go ahead, take it.
Hey, that's 25 real. That's good money. Think of all the stuff you could owe him for? This is a trap.
Attendez, vous connaissez Gare?
Yes, I know Lawrence. He's a real character. No union man in him. A real piece of work, that boy is.
Prends le sachet que vous pouvez le garder, merci.
Okay. I respect a man with principles. No handouts, then. Now, I'd like to set your mind at ease about one other matter. Your lost gun. Let me assure you, Union people are on it as we speak.
Fuck.
I've got my best hounds looking for that lost gun.
His slug-like lips move, but all you hear is an echo. Lost gun, lost gun, lost gun. The world is swallowed by a black hole of fear. Only two words escape its gravitational pull. Lost and gun.
Comment vous savez que j'ai perdu en larmes?
I know everything, Harry. Right now, I know that you're worried. Don't be worried. Everything's going to be all right. It's not like you left it loaded. You didn't lose a loaded gun. Local children aren't out there playing with it right now, pointing it into their own mouths. It's in a safe place. I just know it. I have a feeling everything's going to be all right.
Officer, we will deal with this later. We don't need Mr. Clare's help with this.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
Ah, je prends des dégâts.
God, you're sweating. Your knee is jerking. You're about to cry, aren't you?
Mr. Dubois, you don't look so good.
What is this,
No.
Mr. Dubois? He keeps repeating. What is he trying to pull here?
Mr. Dubois! Mr. Dubois! Harry!
Quand tu as glissé sur la chaise comme un vulgaire, l'air est disparu. Laissez votre esprit se réfugier dans votre solution.
While Everard is distracted by your odd behavior, the lieutenant's eyes are mapping everything around you. The folder, desk, papers on the wall.
Mr. Dubois, are you okay? Can I get you a glass of water or something? Are you having some kind of medical emergency?
Ouais.
Maybe you could use your hands somehow, in a kind of throw-in motion, like you're throwing that Mr. Dubois act right back at him.
En fait, cette chaise est pas du tout
Please,
confortable.
Mr. Dubois.
Un verre d'eau serait pas de refus.
What an odd demonstration of... you got me, Harry. I don't even know what. As entertaining as it was, I'm afraid we're wasting our time. And I'm an extremely busy man, as I'm sure you are too.
Okay, enough. We are here to ask you some questions pertaining to a murder investigation.
Quick, here's your window. Get yourself together and ask him questions. Police officer questions. It is about time to stop embarrassing yourself. Questions will help you regain some of your lost dignity.
On veut parler de la pendaison.
Oh, of course. That's your main thing here. That's why you're in Martinez. I know everything that goes on around here, and I would love to discuss it with you. I mean, it's no secret that the lynching is connected to the strike. So much to talk about. Honestly, it's been weighing on me so heavily. I understand you need to interview me.
Je sens qu'il y a un mais.
But there's a thing that's been keeping me up at night. I want to talk about the hanging. I mean, if we could just calmly talk, exchange information, we could blow this thing wide open.
Yes, that sounds good. Let's do that.
But I can't think straight with this thing weighing on me. You're police officers, aren't you? I have a crazy idea. You guys are basically door-opening machines, incredibly talented at opening doors.
Je vais ouvrir pas mal de portes au cours de ma
And
carrière.
I'm sure you're going to open this one with flying colours, Harry. This really is very simple, and there's nothing shady about it.
Does this jiggling ooze think he's going to use you? He's got another thing coming. Play his game, son, with your eyes peeled. He's going to slip up, and when he does, you're going to come out on top.
Pareil que vous ne savez rien de la pendaison.
Harry, my dear friend, I am what people call a local bigwig. I know everything that goes on in Martinez.
Elle appartient à qui cette porte?
Oh, no one's. It's just a weasel. A weasel lives there. Nothing for you to worry about.
Pourquoi vous l'aurez pas vous-même?
Harry, I'm a very busy man, and more importantly, I don't have that extraordinary physique you do. You look like you could run around all day.
You want to send someone a message that the police are working for you.
I repeat, I'm a very, very busy man, Mr. Kitsuragi, and therefore I must occasionally enlist outside help. So what will it be, Harry?
Entendez quoi par
A
finard?
loud blabbering weasel. When weasels feel no one is watching, they start acting foolishly. Just go there, unlock the door, and leave it open. It's been such a burden on me, Harry. I just want this to be over so I can discuss business with you.
Ah bien.
Fantastic, my friend. Just let me know when it's done and we can take our friendship to the next level. You can get the key from Manana. He's down by the gates. Manana's like a free agent in the Union. Special operations. Hardened socialist. A real free thinker, too. He'll tell you precisely where the door is. One last thing, Harry. Just open the door. You don't need to go in or anything. I just want that weasel to come home and see the unlocked door.
Pourquoi j'aurais ici... Pourriez m'aider à faire descendre un cadavre?
You might have noticed there's one hanging on a tree behind the hostel cafeteria.
Oh my. Don't take this question personally, but...
Mr. Clare, the man was hanged with a cargo belt. A steel-reinforced cargo belt. It's safe to assume the Union had something to do with the murder. Besides, getting the body down would benefit all of us. It's a stain on the neighborhood.
Rien à dire.
I can certainly see how having him up there might start affecting some real estate values. But of course, all joking aside, I am going to help you. Jean-Luc, the cop who bested you in physical combat is here, and he has a little dead body in a tree problem. Namely, he needs it to be taken down. Please extend him this courtesy. You can find Luke down at the gates, but you already knew that. Anyway, he's going to help you, now that he's back on his feet.
Parlons de mon arme perdue.
Yes, your lost gun. My best men are on it. They're turning every stone, searching every playground, asking kids, grandmas, everyone. Your gun will be found, Harry. Let me assure you of that. It's just a matter of time and effort.
The only way to find it seems to be working with him. He might even be holding your gun hostage.
Attendez, si ça se trouve, quelqu'un a acheté l'arme pour je faisais ont-ils pensé?
Yes. Thank you for the hot tip regarding your lost gun, Harry. My men have indeed factored in that you pawned it. Now, please, let the professionals do their job. Kick back, Harry, relax. I have great guys on this. You focus on what's important, building our relationship for the good of Martinez.
It did not come as a surprise to him. He might actually not be bullshitting.
Aucun chantage pour une histoire d'arme. Là, je récupère mon arme.
Damn it, Harry. That's exactly what it means. I'm only kidding, of course.
He is not.
Of course. I understand. We help you, you help us.
Qu'est-ce qui se trouve dans le conteneur devant votre bureau?
My dear Harry, there are literally millions of containers in this harbour. I couldn't possibly remember what's in all of them.
Il était accroché à la grue
Harry, you smooth-talking son of a bitch. Time is a precious resource, and I don't have enough of it to count containers with you.
Okay.
Smooth talking. Maybe that's the way to go about opening the container. You should at least try convincing it.
Okay.
Wait. You need this to get in and out through the gate.
Ça m'intéressait pas de rester bloqué.
Here, you're one of us now. A real red and white union man. Take care, Harry.
Ok. Salopard. Décrocher le cadavre, ok, censé sa réalité. Ok, hop, on ressort. Ça on a fait. On va essayer le mot de passe que notre rhétorique nous dit.
You're back before the cargo container. Its drawer has not lessened since you were last. No reply. You attempt to your left. The lieutenant considers your action.
Tant pis, on peut pas rouvrir. Hop là. Ça j'y ai pas accès encore les parties là. Alors retourner à l'intérieur. Ça j'ai déjà fait. Sortir d'ici. Et bah alors Luc, on se fait casser la gueule?
Do not presume this has drastically altered our race dynamic.
Là, ce mec, on a dieu les arts martiaux.
True. I said nothing about our personal dynamic. That has altered. A little.
He means very little.
Non. Evard vous a dit de nous aider à décrocher le corps de l'arme.
So it was. You bested me in race combat to reach my superior, then had him give me an order. I salute your cunning, enemy. I will go and remove the body from the tree with my bare hands.
You're so noble, Measurehead.
But while I am gone, someone must stand guard on the bridge. That someone needs to be you.
That would mean You're openly showing the people that you're taking the Union's side.
Et ça montrerait à tout le monde qu'on reçoit des ordres du syndicat.
Yes, that is precisely what it means, homunculus. This is not going to happen any other way.
Bon, d'accord.
Babe, see that they stay here the whole time.
The woman's gaze follows Measurehead as he leaves.
So, you guys are like cops or something?
Pourquoi êtes-vous avec Jauge Caboche?
Look at him. His craniometric perfection. Are you cops or what?
Oui, ici la loi c'est nous.
Cool. I like men with guns and power. I'm Katya, by the way.
You hear that? That sound. He's breaking something.
Yeah, Jean-Luc must be really tearing it up over there. I wish I could see it.
Look at you! RCM rent-a-cops! Guarding that bridge like Everott's lapdogs! Is this where it's at now? The RCM is for sale!
And who are you? What is your business here? Why are your clothes 4 sizes too small for you?
Et je suis un flic corrompu, je corromps dès que j'en ai l'occasion, ce ne sont pas vos affaires.
A shrill laughter interrupts you, echoing across Martinez. Then, the man turns to look behind him at the behemoth appearing around the corner, approaching him, walking past him.
Ok. Let's go.
The corpse has been removed from the tree. Stand down and congratulate yourself. You have sided with Ray's victory today.
Essai de coopération.
Farewell, ham sandwich. You...
Aïe aïe aïe. La loi, c'est Jauge Caboche.
So, how'd you like our harbor?
Un vrai merdier.
It's but a rest area on the path leading across open plains. Right. You talk to the boss, eye to eye, like men of the plain. If you have any more questions, I'm set to talk.
Et voir, t'as dit que vous avez la clé d'une porte.
A key, huh? What door is this key supposed to open?
Il a dit que qu'elle appartenait à une fille.
Oh, say no more. I got you. I got that key right here. And let me tell you, it's mighty good of you to help us out during the strike. Working class solidarity, as they say.
Je ne veux pas vraiment ça pour des raisons politiques.
Oh, so the none of the above type, are you? I get it. I like to keep my distance too. What you're looking for is a basement door behind the greenhouse. That's behind the wailing in rags.
Ok.
That's all I know. Our organization is what you call compartmentalized. Means we keep out of each other's business.
Okay, but where did you get the key from?
The janitor gave it to me. Nice fella. We talked about life and things that really, truly matter. None of this mess we're in. This jiving and juggling. What's it for? To feed our children, I guess.
Tu as autre chose à me dire sur cette tâche, cette fouine, quant à l'homme qui
I'm more of a philosophical dock worker. I like to talk about the big picture stuff. Who I am,
Who he is, and what they're fighting for? This is interesting.
Ça va pas le temps de me parler. Hop. On va parler avec le gros musclé.
Went native on the chief, huh? Those ballerina antics were reckless. Should have just punched him in the throat again.
Wrong. You did the right thing with Measurehead. The ballerina antics won you the fight.
Let's talk about our right to work.
Ouais, salut. Hein. Hop. Je vais poser une question avec la meuf à l'intérieur là. Hop. sur l'univers.
Is this about the questions again? Because I don't really know anything.
Peux-tu me parler de la réalité dans laquelle nous sommes?
Reality? You mean what reality?
Non, je parlais
Economic reality or?
Réalité physique.
I don't know. What about it?
Où sommes-nous?
Frit?
Je veux dire, où sommes-nous? Vraiment, je suis sur une plus grande échelle.
As mankind or as a nation or?
En tant qu'humanité.
In a good place.
Okay.
I mean, science is doing great, and this radio computer thing seems to be kind of big. I don't know.
Hop là, ok, je n'en ai
Cool.
pas plus. Hop là. Ok, bon, la réalité c'est pas ça. Hein. Ah putain, mais j'ai pas vendu les bouteilles. Faut que je vends les bouteilles, faites de recyclage. Hop là.
The tear machine stands. Your bottles clunk. Do you know what you should do with that money, kiddo?
Alors, c'est pas 40 centimes que je vais faire grand chose. Hein. Est-ce que je me soignerais pas le moral un coup? Si. Est-ce que je me soignerais pas les PV aussi? Si. Hop. Au cas où.
All around you, rain falls on the great city of Revachol. Rain drips from the eaves and floods the gutters, washing the filth away.
Okay.
The spring thaw must be here. The snow is melting.
Qu'est-ce que je fais?
Looking up at the sky, cold water dripping from your hair.
Qu'est-ce que je vois?
Grey sky like great battleships, clouds colliding with one another. Rain falls down on the world.
Qu'est-ce que je ressens?
Humid. Your coat shields you from the rain while the city shivers around you.
Qu'est-ce qu'il y a à l'ouest?
Sheets of rain over the water. A flight of stairs leading into the ocean. Wave after wave washing the coast of Martinaise, with its motorboats and gently swaying reeds. The ruins of a half-sunken sea fort crumble on an inlet beyond the Bay of Revachol. Ghosts rise into the sky.
Quel loup fantôme?
The skyscrapers of La Delta, the financial district. Faint golden light seeps from the office windows. Will you ever go there?
What?
No, you are just one of the hundreds of thousands who watch them rise across the bay from Martinaise every day.
Ici en bas de la côte.
Urban coastline, rain dripping off Eternite-covered roofs. Cinder blocks left over from half-finished construction. A defunct research and development building, once seized by revolutionaries. An old wooden church stands on stilts above the water.
Et au-delà?
Coal City, end of all lines.
Passez vos doigts dans vos cheveux trempés.
Your hair is an oily mess flecked with ash from neighboring coal
Peut-être d'ailleurs, je me suis rappelé les cheveux.
Smokestacks rise somewhere in the distance.
Est-ce qu'il y a à l'est?
The great gates of the industrial harbour are locked. A chill runs down your back. You shudder like an animal trying to shake water from its hide.
Serre les dents pour arrêter de frissonner.
Behind the gates, heaps of supply crates, red and blue metal shipping containers, slick with rain. The Greater Revachol Industrial Harbour is an artificial mountain range. Immense wealth resides within, and immeasurable poverty in its shadow. La Ducienne, King Dries passenger harbour. Cruise ships flanked by dock arms. Cranes watching over the mouth of the river distributary.
Ok, et qu'y a-t-il au-delà du défunt?
Couronne, the lower middle class. Distributary after distributary cuts the city blocks in half. 7-story buildings trail off into the rain.
Qu'y a-t-il au-delà de la couronne?
A silvery curtain of rain over the houses. The class divide.
Qu'y a-t-il au nord?
Capeside apartments. Tower blocks crowd one another. 4.46mm bullets still lodged in their war-torn stone walls. Hallways collapse from the mortar hits of a war that was lost long
Lumière
ago.
s'allumer à 19h30.
Clotheslines go to waste in the rain. Radios play.
On est plus près
A
d'ici.
yard. Rain falls onto the roof of a woodshed. Coal leaks into a puddle beneath a dead man's feet. He swings from a tree, bloated. Droplets of rain slip from his cold cheeks.
Qu'est-ce qu'il y a au sud?
A traffic jam. Rain thrumming on the roofs of motor vehicles. Inside, drivers watch water streaming down their windshields. The statue of a king shudders. He too is cold. The canal bridge has been raised.
Qu'est-ce qu'il y a de l'autre côté?
The road ascends. A raised motorway loops above the ghetto. Beneath its concrete columns, a sea of rooftops, woodwork, and tar stretches northward. 4-story buildings as far as the rain can fall. The snows melt in Jamrock.
Il se passe quoi dans le ghetto?
I have a brother in the cut. Where the hood at?
Pourquoi la voix est différente là? Bizarre. Pourquoi ne suis-je pas là?
To be in Martinez, where no one goes, at the runoff point of a long-forgotten canal, in the whitest part of town, in the shadow of the day the revolution failed.
Qu'est-ce que je fais ici?
Standing in the rain, looking north, where Jamrock Rock City stretches inland.
Impression de regarder plus loin.
In the rain-swept distance, above the rooftops of Jamrock, a repurposed silk mill stands perched above the motorway exit. Precinct 41 hunches in the rain.
Okay.
Your vision blurs. You wipe your face with your hand. The rain stings your eyes, making you look up and blink.
Et il y a quoi plus haut?
Coalition-era statics hang like apparitions under the cloud cover. Way up there, where rain forms, rotors flutter silently. Your sight clears.
Ok. En réflexion.
This rain will not let up anytime soon. At least we are dressed for it. Let's keep moving.
Ok. Hop là. On va voir le cadavre.
You missed a good show before. A kid came by and completely fucked the tree to pieces.
He fucked the tree up! Fucked it good! It was porno!
J'aurais aimé voir ça, j'ai question de poser.
Shoot that shit at Kuno, Pigonaut. Kuno doesn't fucking...
Ok.
The corpse lies on the ground among the remains of an absolutely demolished pinewood branch. It's gently laid on one side.
Bon, on l'a décroché, c'était cette façon plus
Mr. Measurehead has done a good job.
Oh.
Nothing is too broken or compromised. The victim is ready for a field autopsy.
Autopsie sur site?
Yes. 1. Investigation of the scene. 2. Initial examination of the victim. 3. Field autopsy. 4. Transportation of the body to the morgue. We are on number 3.
The fuck are they on about?
Cop's gonna cut his shit up!
Un spécialiste pour ça, un médecin?
No, you and I are detectives. The honorary rank of detective signifies our ability to handle the entire incident chain. From autopsy to cleanup, to social work, everything.
Selon le rang honorifique de détective.
An honor and a burden attached to your rank once you've proven yourself able. Usually after 5 to 8 years of field work. Mine is lieutenant detective.
Quand bien que je suis détective.
You are. Your station would not have assigned you on this case if you weren't. Now, the way I see it, it's either this, or we complete the initial interviews. We already met Evrard, that only leaves the Wild Pines representative. There's one in town, negotiating the strike. She could have information.
Pas besoin de branler les mouches, allons-y.
The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath.
D'abord, c'est quoi exactement une autopsie sur site?
Come on, officer. You know what a field autopsy is. You've done 100 of them.
Non, j'ai oublié ce que c'est une autopsie sur site.
Fine. It's a 3-part form to be filled out on the scene by the detectives responsible. One takes note, the other dictates. The goal is to establish cause of death.
Il nous faut un scalpel pour ça?
A scalpel is not always required. I hope this is one of those cases. Latex gloves are, however.
Il est temps de salir les mains.
There truly is a time for everything, even for yellow gardening gloves. However, they are lacking hygienically. I suggest you get in there in limited capacity.
D'accord.
I'll ask you when I need you to. For the most part, maybe I should handle the contact and you take notes?
Et dois-je prendre dans ce cas... Et où dois-je prendre ces notes dans mon registre?
Yes, you see, the field autopsy form is the one on red copier paper.
Page rouge, pas la formulaire d'autopsie sur une... Ok. Autopsie sur le... Ok. Cache le morceau maintenant. Ouvrir le formulaire d'autopsie.
The dead man stares in silence as you crack open the ledger. The bright red paper is covered in boxes and lists, describing the condition of his skin and organs in 3 parts. Above those, an 11-field info form needs filling out first. It begins with...
Comment c'est un assistant?
That's you.
C'est que la première question est sèche déjà.
Not an energetic start to an autopsy, I agree.
Pig's messed up. Kuno feels pity.
Just leave it empty, officer.
The corpse lies there, indifferent to your retrograde amnesia.
Dossier du médecin légiste numéro
KK57-0803.0815.
Prendre note.
Next?
Non.
NA. Next?
Date de naissance.
NA.
H.
Roughly 50.
Rien. Environ 50.
The corpse looks ageless, like meat on a hook.
Ethnie.
Mondial.
Prendre note.
The pudgy mess of curdled meat looks neither mondial nor anything other.
Je n'ai l'air ni mondial ni quoi que ce soit d'autre sexe.
Fucky!
Du cul, c'est que la petite diablesse.
Male.
Pigs can have sex!
Ben un poulet? Un écrit masculin.
Nor does he look male, with his pregnant belly and indistinguishable face.
Date du décès.
We're still going with March 4th. 51.
4 du 3, 51.
What else? 9. Body identified by is non-applicable. 10. Case number is the same as the coroner's case.
Okay.
KK 57 0503 0815 listens motionless, with the cargo belt still around his neck. Only one box remains.
Preuve de traitement?
None. At least not after the initial examination.
A strange word. Treatment.
Quoi exactement, traitement?
Interfering with the body's position or wounds post-mortem.
How did you not know that? Aren't you a cop? You're leaving a weak impression here. Say something sure-handed.
Je suis pas si sûr.
A silent nod. The lieutenant places his gloved hand on the corpse's chest, as if in preparation. Your central nervous system recognizes this gesture. It's the stations of the breath. Ecclesiastic, religious in nature, a holdout from pre-DeLorean burial rites. It takes him 2 seconds to perform. Then, somewhere in Jamrock North, a small wood shed behind Rosencrantz Row, Lieutenant Nick Feuerbach puts his hand to the chest of a small corpse, no larger than a monkey. Elsewhere yet, an obese female sits in a wicker chair, her silhouette bull-like against the window. Outside, Grand Coudon, the day is turning dim for Sergeant Mac Dawson. Hand extended, he approaches, to make sure she is dead more than anything else. The building is tall, 7 stories wind-wrapped in solitude. Most of the apartments are unoccupied. This was a suicide. The other, an accident. The small one. And so, all across Jamrock, Coal City, GRIH, 42
discussion intérieure et relative là.
42 stations of breath.
We should start the post-mortem.
The corpse cannot feel Kim's hand on his chest. It no longer meaningfully interacts with its surroundings. A thicket of boxes and lists on red copier paper tries to answer why.
Examen externe, synthèse.
Clothes. The deceased wears armored boots and white briefs. The make of the briefs is Babrodin, I think. Let's see.
See, it's happening.
Babrodin, yes. Inexpensive. Size M. Color white.
The disappointment is palpable. The red-haired thing was expecting something more lurid.
The boots are ceramic, vitreous enamel. They are fused to his skin from blood flowing downward post-mortem. Removal of the boots is left for processing.
Merde. Prendre note.
Tattoos.
Implanté de chaque côté du cadavre.
The upper torso is covered in a single, continuous tattoo, resembling a map of the night sky. It reaches from the right shoulder to the heart. The ink is blue and white. The assistant has a color photograph of the markings, to be added to the case files as document A1. The photo is taken on the scene, using a Trigat Mini. The deceased has a cargo lashing belt around his neck, tied with a hangman's knot. Color yellow. Length 3 meters. There is a buckle on the other end. Well-nourished, athletically built, measuring 1.8 meters. Generally consistent with age, about 50. Preservation is good. Ambient temperature, below freezing. Body hair is light brown. Distribution is consistent with age. The deceased had male pattern baldness. Hair is combed back, short.
En note court, brun clair, début du cavus.
Lividity is consistent with
Pas caresser le cadavre, hein.
The head is congested. Contusions are present on the head, chest, and thighs. Consistent with stones thrown post-mortem. Low velocity.
Fucking low velocity? You think Kuno doesn't know what you're talking about? Velocity was fucking max.
Fucking max.
Talking shit about Kuno's velocity.
In addition, there are bite marks on the face, scalp, and chest. Consistent with predation.
Prendre note.
Ligature mark.
Un petit couteau de poche, appuyant sur son autre main sur la sangle. Il commence à trancher et pousser à la puanteur. Au bout d'un moment, il apparaît évident que la sangle est impossible à sectionner.
The steel wiring. There's too much of it. We need to remove the bell so we can get to the ligature mark.
You got just the right tool for that. The chain cutters.
Alors nous avons cette pince, on dirait la pince poignée au caoutchouc.
Always good to think ahead. Now, we need to cut the belt to see the ligature mark below. Carefully, with as much precision as you...
See? My pig is gonna fuck his head off.
No, he ain't. Your pig's a boring fuck.
Instrument physique. Cherchez le meilleur endroit à couper.
The belt is equally tight around the whole circumference of his neck, swelling over the edges like white bread rising from the east.
Instrument physique. Non, mais hop. Ah, ok, on peut augmenter pendant les...
You jam the cutters right under the knot. That seems like a smart idea. Yeah, somewhere there. Already, they're buried deep in the man's flesh.
J'augmente la stat et ça passe pas,
Then you
putain.
rotate them to get a better hold. Then...
Sacré putain de merde.
The lieutenant looks by, somewhat worried as you summon power words to your aid.
Ça suffit, il faut couper.
Yeah, fuck him. Fuck that faggoty. Corpse fucking time.
Told you my pig was hardcore.
I should have a go first. I think I have a strategy.
He sinks the cutters into the knot, preparing to perform the cuts. With, yes, that's much better form than you had. Snap. The knot is slashed. Another cut and the belt falls apart like a flower bouquet, revealing the dead man's neck and the dark red ligature mark around it.
Here.
Passeport observé auprès du corps. Enfin, quoi, c'est dans le long d'ici, on sent. Il tombe sur un espace.
The rope rises to a point, leaving a gap in the ligature mark. The suspension point is in the back of the neck, on the...
As it ought to. This is where its grip on the curdled meat is gentlest, pulling up.
Hemorrhaging is observed on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. The mark is well pronounced, consistent with a drop from 1 or 1.5 meters.
Okay.
Chest is intact, normal contour. Abdomen is protuberant. Pelvis intact. Genitalia...
Mais c'est sous-vêtement du défunt.
No! It's gonna happen, see?
I fucking knew it.
This is clearly what they've been waiting for, ever since the autopsy began. The lieutenant is trying to make it as boring as possible.
Genitalia is male and unremarkable. No evidence of injury.
Prendre note et passer à autre chose. On va pas regarder,
Back is
putain.
symmetrical and intact. Upper and lower extremities are intact, but asymmetrical. There are combat injuries on the right hand, thigh, and hip.
Ok.
Bullets have bitten little pieces out of him. It must have been excruciating, especially the hip. Before you is a temple of pain that knew little tenderness in life.
Okay.
In addition, I see smaller, residual scars, too numerous to count, covering about 30% of his skin.
Encore un soldat d'un mercenaire.
We have a real museum here. Of battles, wars.
Prendre note.
Last item. Hands.
Et la main droite du défunt pour examiner, on va passer à autre chose.
Hands are clean. No sign of a recent struggle.
On était censé en trouver.
I was. Maybe I'm just not seeing them. Honestly, this stench is making it hard for me to think at the moment.
Prendre note.
Ooh. That's all for the external. Well done. What next?
Examen interne, synthèse.
Central nervous system. I have nothing. Do you have anything on this man's central nervous system?
You don't even have a joke.
Ah d'accord. Je peux même pas faire de blague, super. Non.
Musculoskeletal. Purge fluid is coming from the mouth. Not injury related. Eyes and tongue protuberant. Hyoid bone. Let's see.
With his eyes almost closed, the lieutenant puts his hand on the dead man's throat and begins to massage it, gently. A rotting smell erupts from the mouth. Purge fluid runs down his lips, black and viscous.
Yeah, jack that fucker off!
The hyoid bone is fractured. The rest of the musculoskeletal system is intact. Unremarkable.
Ok.
Respiratory system.
Commence à forcer l'ouverture de la mâchoire inférieure et s'attend pour exercer davantage de force. C'est vraiment de se demander.
Oral cavity shows no lesions. The victim has received dental implants, possibly after a combat wound. Mouth swollen. Hemorrhaging present in mucosa of the lips and mouth.
From here, it looks as though the clown-faced man is screaming. The tendons of his jaw are torn apart. Hyoid, ripped from the force of the lieutenant's hands.
Respectez la bouche du Maccabée.
No scream. No sigh of relief rises from the darkness inside. It's humid there. Sickly sweet air, unlike anything living.
Oh
you
no.
feel like you're about to throw up again.
Oh
straight
no.
in that mouth of his. No, you don't. You can keep it in. You can keep anything in.
Un peu à l'intérieur.
You manage to suppress the contractions trying to enter your stomach. All it takes is concentration. Through it, you see nothing but darkness. More meat and darkness.
There are ancient mysteries down there, Kobo. Ask me later.
Ok.
Hemorrhaging present in mucus.
Après, t'as maintenant sur la tapation. Alors là, mâchoire, la bouche ferme et claquant devant. Ok, prendre note.
Hepatobiliary. NA.
On a rien.
Ah. Are you a hepatobiliary expert?
Écrire un...
Same for toxicology and serology. NA.
Les deux.
Unless you have untapped reservoirs of knowledge there.
Perfectionnement se demande si on pouvait pas faire encore autre chose.
Like a toxicology screening? At this stage, I doubt processing will find anything, even if he was brimming with cocaine. But still, you should add a request.
Ok.
Brimming with cocaine.
Putain. Le corps en mode, la drogue, l'alcool. Jeter un indice.
Cardiovascular. The body exhibits lividity in the lower extremities, feet, hands, and neck. Visually consistent with the hanging.
Ok, prendre note.
Gastrointestinal.
Certain, c'est une étape avec la Elysium Ep3 sur la matière fécale. Ok.
Digested semi-solid food in stomach. Voilà.
Voiture semi-solidée, touche. Ok, écrire en omettant le voilà.
What's next on the list?
Description des blessures, synthèse.
Let's see. We have bite marks, contusions on the head and chest, and a ligature mark encircling the neck. You'll need 3 fields. Leave a 4th one too.
Et pour les blessures que nous avons infligées.
So we inflicted them?
C'est un travail d'équipe.
You mean the incision on the thorax from a chain cutter? That was not a team effort, and I wouldn't mention it. Muddies the water.
D'accord, on est finalement dans la mise.
See? These pigs are fucking corrupt.
Oh putain.
Why don't you fuck him if you love him so much?
Now, injuries.
Troisième morsure.
Head, chest, and scalp bite mark injuries. Predation by birds has caused damage to the body. Odontologist does not need to be consulted.
Prendre note.
And your opinion, officer?
Non, je pense que c'est non mortel au filet post-mortem.
Agreed. Next injury?
Contusion.
So, the scalp bleeds from a post-mortem head injury, a stone. The injury does not have the rim of an early inflammatory response. The perpetrator on the scene has confessed to causing it post-mortem.
At maximum velocity, fucko!
Has confessed to causing it at maximum velocity.
Coagulated blood sticks to his scalp and chest, where the countless stones have hit the dead man. Beneath, the description of injury.
Blessure non mortelle infligée post-mortem.
Right. Next.
Marque de ligature.
A dark red abraded ligature mark encircling the neck, with a gap on the nape measuring, let's say, 7 centimeters. The hyoid bone is fractured, the cervical column intact. I see hemorrhaging on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. Depth of the mark, 1 centimeter. No signs of clawing on the neck.
Prendre note.
Below the note, 2 customary boxes wait to be ticked. The man's head jerks to the side. The ring around his neck is visible.
Non, blessure mortelle.
That's it. We have established cause of death. It's not much, and it leaves much to be questioned. But it's a start. Let's wrap this up. I pronounce this field autopsy over.
Bon, on l'a assuré ou pas?
Well, we established probable cause of death. Some would say that's the goal of an autopsy. We also requested a toxicological screening. That was thorough. The results should arrive in a couple of weeks, if we are lucky. I would not hold my breath.
Quoi d'autre?
We were thorough with the list of injuries, too. We described them all in detail. What is there to say? Given the circumstances, it was a professional field autopsy.
Oh yeah, well done, Master Detective. Maybe a drink is in order?
Et maintenant?
I need a copy of that autopsy form. Then I will drive him to Faubourg.
Ok, déchire une copie des pages. Copie.
For processing.
Ok, après l'institut, on achète un dernier regard du cadavre fille rouge dans un piano au cadavre.
He's thinking, did I miss something?
Perception légendaire, cause probable établie. Ok. Est-ce que je peux augmenter la perception? Il est où? Il est là. Hop là. Oh, 3%. Allez, on tente.
You run your hands over the victim's cold body, his limbs, his torso with its swollen organs. Maybe you should be more thorough.
Voilà, nous dans son pantalon.
You pull down his breeches. Marbling is present around the crotch. The penis has shrunk, crawling halfway back inside him. There is nothing mysterious or noteworthy here.
Can't get enough of that dick.
Je pensais le pantalon qu'on a récupéré dans la poubelle passe ça, putain.
Do you think we missed something?
You can't shake the feeling that there are more secrets concealed in the flesh before you.
Et on a raté quelque chose.
Okay, well, we are in livor mortis here. He is disintegrating. We need to refrigerate the body if we want to conduct another examination, and we need to do it fast.
Ok, et on pourra, où est-ce qu'on pourra trouver ce frigo? Enfin, trouver le frigo plutôt.
It would have to be industrial in size. Let's start by asking Gart at the Whirling in Rags and the Fritz store down at the gates. If they don't know, but only if all else fails.
Okay.
Fuck are you looking at, Beano man? You want a piece of the Kuno? Wanna get fucked?
Il faut quoi le gamin?
Only if all else fails.
Faut d'abord que j'examine le corps.
Hurry. This is one task we cannot sideline. With every hour, whatever we are looking for will become harder to find.
On va amener le lieutenant emporter le corps pour lui donner de pousser.
If you think so, officer, I need a little help for carrying him to the holding pen of my kinema. I'll take it from there.
Ensuite.
It's too late to take him into processing today. I'll take him first thing tomorrow.
Porter jusqu'à l'automotrice. Ouais. Tant pis. On va pas laisser le cadavre au moins à disposition de mecs dans la rue. Hop.
Yes?
Rien de plus à dire.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox.
Ok. Bon bah ça c'est fait. Là-dedans, carte. C'est ici. Vérité en vrac, c'est quoi? Si. Pendu. Carte épinglée, difficile, ok. Je sais pas que c'est ça. Hop. Hop là. Bah là je suis en pleine découverte. Après je sais pas si c'est par rapport au cadavre le fait que j'ai pas ramené dans un
You see a set of tire tracks in the
dans un
brown
frigo.
slush that covers the plaza mosaic.
Une trace de pneus en neige. Oh putain, je suis mauvais sur les jets de dés.
No, these tracks are not interesting at all. Let the street sweeper just sweep them away.
Hop. Hop. Oh, il y a plus de monde là dans le truc. Il y a une clé qu'il faut que je fasse. Est-ce que c'est là?
You see a heavy steel door with a prominent dimple. The door does not.
Non, c'est pas ici la clé, ça va être la porte de dehors. Il n'y a personne à parler de nouveau.
Can I help you?
Là, il n'y a rien à dire de plus. Toi, est-ce qu'on peut le réveiller lui par hasard?
The worker is in a deep. Perhaps he's on his way to where you just came from, into the primordial darkness. There is only one way to awake this bone idol from his slumber. Roar like a hurricane. Rip the buildings from the earth.
Debout là-dedans, c'est un ordre, et la loi, c'est moi, putain. Ah, le cri primitif, vraiment. D'ailleurs, se lève doucement sa tête et vous êtes vivant, vous n'avez pas l'air.
Wait, what? I was just sleeping. What do you want, officer?
Officer, even after a rude awakening, this dock worker respects the police. More than they usually do, at least.
Qu'est-ce que vous pouvez me dire sur le cadavre dans la cour?
Yeah, what about it?
Pas l'air de vous déranger plus que ça. Comment ici les cadavres?
You know, people die here every day. Someone's found in a ditch, another one falls in a manhole, a third one gets eaten by stray dogs.
Okay.
If someone has decided to die on top of a tree, then how is it my concern? If you get lucky, I might even have answers for them.
Ouais, non.
The dock worker doesn't answer. His head.
On va laisser l'alcoolique dormir.
The door is closed. This door can only be opened with a key. Still, nothing. The lieutenant, he doesn't like where this is going. You should punch a fucking hole. The murmur in your ear.
C'est toujours pas ouvrable. C'était pas ça comme ça, si? C'est les... Attends, quoi? Ah si, c'est parce que je peux prendre pour vendre, d'accord, ok.
The window stands broken in its frame.
Ça je peux toujours pas faire. Je peux toujours
This
pas
fan
récupérer
has
mon...
two chains, or has it been consigned there as punishment? You
Mise en
feel as
scène,
though
ok. Ça je peux toujours pas ouvrir. Non. Ça je ne peux toujours pas ouvrir. Qu'est-ce que j'ai d'autre à faire? Ça on va garder. Faut que j'aille derrière pour ouvrir la porte. Hop. Là, il n'y a personne de nouveau à parler. Je crois que c'est la porte que j'avais vue là-bas. Donc ça passe ça.
An inconspicuous pile of the roofing material, Eternite.
Merde, est-ce que j'améliore la perception?
Because it's nice and orderly.
Nice.
Well-laid palette. Easy on the eyes. It reveals no...
Allez, on rate tout, ça fait plaisir. C'est génial. Putain, mon personnage vraiment est nul à chier. Tâche. Où est-ce que je dois ouvrir là avec la clé? Un peu longtemps de Wild Pine. L'appartement pour Evart. Bon. La porte du sol derrière la serre dans la cour pour intimider l'occupant. Je pense qu'il va falloir que je fasse le tour. J'ai pas encore été là-bas, ouais, je pense qu'il va falloir faire le tour. On va des zooms, hop. La gamine, j'ai déjà parlé, lui. Il y avait le truc chaud la dernière fois. Je me souviens pas de ça. Ah si, allez hop. La thune, merci bien. Hop. C'est un oiseau ça? Comment une solitaire, regarde la mairesse indifférent à votre approche, ok. Coque de soleil brille, comme si c'était venu d'être peinte. Quelque chose là?
This is a wall on the side of an apartment building.
Ah putain, j'ai 3% de chance. Ce mur, vas-y, on va tenter.
You have no clue. It's just a wall. So
Ouais, c'est
many
juste un mur.
walls all over Martinez, weather-worn.
Ah. Ça c'est pour le moral, ok. Tu d'arrosage, je serai avec unité, tant que la neige n'aura pas fondu, ok. Oh, bonnet orange. Ouais. Ouais, la moitié est remplie d'eau, de pluie. Ça, je peux pas y accéder. Un mur... Notre mur qui bat de balle, ok. Les chaises des tables rongées par la pluie et la pourriture.
There must be another way into the building.
Oh, sa mère! Oh putain, la vache, le volume de... Ah, qu'est-ce qui t'a pris, Kim? Oh, sa mère! Pourquoi il était si fort, lui? Ah, il m'a fait flipper! Oh, le screamer, Ah, je m'y attendais pas, genre, mise en scène... Oh, putain. Faut pas qu'il fasse ça, le jeu, hein.
This must be it. The basement door is weather-worn. The copper nails holding the upholstery in place have turned green from sea air, and there's a knocker shaped like a lion's head. The leather upholstery is worn and rough against your jaw. You don't hear any movement.
Ok, d'accord.
In fact, it's oddly silent in the yard around you. No birds chirp. You try to be as silent as you can. It takes a bit of rattling of the handle to loosen the bolt. Finally, the door unlocks with a small clack. Thoughts race through your head. Good job. Let's go now. I'm sure only curiosity could account for stepping over that threshold. Maybe there's treasure in there. A white alligator. A fountain of quicksilver. As you hold the open door, you can feel the air moving. A little draft. A whistle.
On va rentrer. Il y a d'autres bugs comme ça dans le jeu, d'autres dialogues, ou ils ok, c'est le seul. Faut que je me prenne d'autres screamers violents dans la gueule. Ok. On a déloge ici. Et un tir, le monde caché des faces mais ouverts. Des presque cacheurs, du soleil rouge sur le drapeau. On prend. Personne qui ici admire les héros musclés et blonds.
A row of mugs sits on the shelf. Each one depicts a human figure. A dark-skinned woman grinning amidst mysterious symbols. A broad-shouldered man shoveling potatoes, and others. A little ring. Though cheerful, the images on the ceramic make you vaguely uncomfortable. The images betray a lack of interest in human beings. They are merely unflattering caricatures. The owner of these mugs doesn't like people of other ethnicities very much.
Merci, c'est bon, j'ai pas besoin de savoir plus.
Anytime, the lieutenant picks up one of the mugs, then puts it back down with a...
I'm beginning to feel better about breaking into this man's apartment.
Tiens-moi coupable d'être hanté par la faction. Et gagner notre tasse, c'est l'homme jaune.
Yes, your broken mug friend would feel very much at home here.
Ouais.
The same humor, the same mocking lines.
There's the missing tin soldier. Whoever lives here might have used the Whirling's container to dump his trash. And now they've drawn the ire of the Union. The plot thickens, as they say.
Perhaps you should break into apartments more often.
Je crois que c'est la même personne qui a mis les vêtements du bord à la poubelle.
Who knows? I'm not expecting too much from these clothes in the trash lead either way. It might turn out to be some random local matter. But still, a nice coincidence.
Ok. Allez, on se casse. On s'en fout d'être entré dans l'appart d'un connard au final. Alors, est-ce que je peux retourner? Attendez, dire Evart que vous avez dévoré l'appart. Ouais, on peut aller retourner, on va voir Evart. Est-ce que la chemise... Conceptualisation, suggestion. Logique. Ça m'enlèverait le... Ouais. C'est quoi que ça m'enlève ça? Suggestion, vas-y, on va prendre un truc qui donne que des bonus. Ça sera mieux. Hop. On va retourner au pont. Au port. Hop. J'ai pas mal de morale, j'ai pas beaucoup de soins de PV. Hop. Allez, plus vite. Hop. Quelle heure? 16h20, ouais, ok, ça va. Non, c'est par là. Ah, le spot s'est allumé. Oui. Lumière vous observe, un faible bourdonnement. Ça, on va laisser. Hop. Fermé, malheureusement. Pas de quoi ouvrir. Ça, on a fouillé le truc, mais on a déjà parlé. Pour récupérer au moins notre arme, même si on a toujours pas l'insigne aussi.
Mr. Dubois, a pleasure as always. You don't have to sit down this time, since you've already sat on that chair.
Je vous rapporte comme vous m'avez demandé, on peut parler du meurtre maintenant?
I'm very glad to hear that, Harry. One question. You didn't actually happen to stumble in and see what's inside the apartment, did you?
There is no way to sway this man in any direction. He is unsuggestible and unswayable. Just tell the truth.
Je peux que je sois effectivement entré dans l'appartement et que j'ai perçu une collection de tasses racistes.
Just as I thought. Culturally antiquated mug collection. What a weasel. Pissing on Everart's Rainbow Coalition. Now let's get down to brass tacks. It's time for men like me and you to figure out who's killed who and why. Real police work is gonna start happening now. I promise you, Harry, this is gonna be good.
Nous sommes dans l'appartement. J'ai trouvé une tasse similaire dans la poubelle avec les vêtements du pendu.
Racist mugs in the trash and in the apartment? You guys are just light years ahead of me. I have so much confidence in the ability of your organization. I'm relieved you're doing this and leaving me to do what I do best. Helping people. With the power of politics.
Yes, yes. Do you think this weasel is somehow connected to the murder?
Oh, no, 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 no. I don't cross paths like that. All I want is for you to succeed in your investigation. I would never complicate things for you.
Et Sunner a peut-être nettoyé la scène de crime après, tu vois.
Believe me, Harry, he's a nobody. Just your basement variety nobody. Can't imagine him being connected to a high-caliber case like this. But he does live nearby. Maybe it's a pedantic weasel. Fascists are known to be neat freaks. I feel like a real detective right now, Harry. Am I getting this right?
Travailler dans un agent de police ne nécessite pas de c'est quelqu'un avec une matraque imaginaire.
Of course, Harry. I'm not a real police officer. You are.
That's all he's going to say on this subject.
Et que en charge de la grève était lié pourquoi?
By now, I'm sure you've figured out who the dead man was working for. The bad guys. Wild Pines. Sent to scare us. Another violent measure of the top hats against us flatcaps.
Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire par là?
Harry, this strike is the culmination of many, many mistakes made by the Wild Pines group. They tried to shut the strike down by sending in armed mercenaries.
Des mercenaires armés.
You mean our victim?
A security contractor? Can you imagine that? Workers standing in peaceful protest, united in the spirit of fellowship, and they send hired killers to mow us down with machine gun fire? I'm talking beasts, hardened killers from proxy wars in Yisut, Semenine, Saramaritsa, you name it, they've done it. Raping, killing, burning villages, killing little children for the Senorita Pineapple Company, Harry.
Oui, bon mercenaire ça.
Everything they did there, they brought over here. They want to turn Revachol into a third world slum. Honestly, the only thing they didn't do is kill the village elephant.
Un éléphant du village. Continuez.
Now, I haven't personally witnessed the brutalities out there. I have the luxury of staying in my container, you see. If I need to go somewhere, they just move my container.
Ok. Continuez.
About my fun container? It's a hoot, Harry. Who knows? Maybe you'll be in here the next time they move it. It will be very fun, I promise. But enough about me and my container. The killers the company hired, I think there were 3 of them. All hardened commando types.
Ouais, donc c'est des
One
mecs
of
armés
them
encore.
got downright suicidal. Getting drunk, violent, a little rapey. Even their own negotiator couldn't control him. That's your boy. The one who likes hanging out and trees.
What makes you think the Wild Pines negotiator can't control them?
Harry, what you need to realize is, we dock workers are not pushovers. We got grit, Harry. This whole neighborhood does. Push us hard enough and we push back. And when we do, we push to kill.
Ah. Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire que tout le quartier est impliqué? Que exactement quand c'est pas poussé bouchon? Qui voulez-vous dire que tout le quartier est impliqué?
Potentially, Harry, potentially. We got arm wrestling champions, rowing club people, ex-coal miners, tough guys, all ready to spring into action for their home base.
Exactement, commencer à pousser le bouchon un peu trop loin.
There's a militant wing inside the Union. A group of people whose duties don't involve manual labor, but peacekeeping in the neighborhood, making sure everything runs smoothly.
Okay.
They're like you guys. Idealistic people who want to make sure bad things don't happen. And if they already have, well, punishment must follow.
So these idealists killed our victim?
One day Titus Hardy, leader of this peacekeeping faction, comes up to me and says, "Boss, socialist democratic fervor drove us to take it upon ourselves to kill this beast that was burdening the land." He probably worded it differently, but that was the idea. Sure sounded to me like they killed him. I gave them 2 weeks paid leave and told them to lay low to avoid retaliation.
Oh, putain, quelle bande de
Aren't
cons.
you worried we might arrest them for this?
Oh, I'm not at all worried about that. These are not the kind of men who get arrested. They're Martin A's boys, tough and gritty. I'd like to see the man who takes them in. Besides, I sent my lawyer girl to look after them.
If he's just boasting, then it sure doesn't feel like that to you.
Il a pas peur que ces hommes se fassent emmener en prison, mais plutôt qu'ils se soient retrouvés, quoi. Qu'il est pas plutôt comme il meurt, mais qu'il se soit retrouvé juste boire un coup. Pensez-vous que les mercenaires ont été engagés par la société de transport?
How do I know? Let me tell you about these people. That's their MO. It's what they do.
Okay.
Last winter, some poor workers in Terminal E went on a little strike. The company sent in Sediment, a security contractor. The strike was over the workers' right to wear protective footwear, Harry.
Ah, d'accord.
These guys turn up and start beating people. Tell you what, Harry, I wouldn't be surprised if we got the same mercenary company, after a little rebranding. And I'm sure as hell not surprised to see an army of scabs under my gates.
C'est plus la Brave M, c'est la M Brave.
So you believe the scabs were organized by the security contractor?
You said it. Hell, one of those guys looks big enough to take down that proverbial elephant. Boys like that don't just happen to show up during strikes.
He's not scared of them. If anything, he likes them being here. Strange.
Parlez d'une avocate.
Oh, Liz is a bright one. I paid for that law degree myself, thinking it'll probably turn her all fancy. But hell, Harry, she came back a firebrand socialist. Sometimes she scares me with her zeal.
Vraiment, Titus Hardy et de sa bande. Titus. Ah oui, bah oui, c'est le mec qui a eu les congés.
Oh, they are simply fine young men, all 7 of them. Exemplary union members. Always working to advance their position in the local socialist democratic movement. Core members. Old Theo used to run them, but things really kicked into gear when Titus took the reins and named the group after himself. Gotta love his initiative.
Interesting. Who's second in command?
They're almost all of them great guys, born leaders. Whatever happened, I'm sure they only had the best interests of Martinez and Revachol in mind.
Ouais.
Work with them. Hell, interview them. But don't fight them. They really are just like you. Men who like beer, women, and some order on the streets.
Est-ce que je peux les trouver? Ils ne se trouvent pas au Girling.
You know what, Harry? I got a feeling they're gonna show up in full force tomorrow.
D'accord.
The lieutenant marks something in his notebook.
J'aurais bien besoin d'un coup de main à l'avenir. Est-ce que vous pourriez me demander au Hardy de coopérer?
But of course! It's the least I can do for my good friend Harry. I'll do it right after we've concluded this talk.
When you meet this Titus, tell him about this. See what he has to say.
Also, Harry, here's 5 real.
Pourquoi vous me donnez de l'argent?
I'm not giving you anything. I'm just holding out 5 real.
Okay.
The lieutenant watches you pocket the banknote. He looks a little puzzled.
Ah oui, si je suis étonné, mais ok.
How many micro bribes would this guy take?
Je prends la thune, hein.
Good boy, a real team player. Now, do you have any more questions?
On va finir, restons là pour le moment. Et mon
Was
flingue?
it a good talk? I'm not sure we made much headway here. I was hoping we'd bust the case wide open. Heck, I even wanted to tell you what I really want to achieve with the strike. I don't know what happened, Harry. I wanted you to feel like Mr. Martinez. And, of course, I also wanted you to find your gun. But it's like I can't completely trust you. Yet.
Pas encore.
Yes, Harry. It's like I can't fully trust you if you're not a man of the left. I want to, but I just can't.
He's been hurt too much in the past by men who aren't social democrats.
Ah putain, j'aurais dû faire la réflexion du communisme. Parce qu'une question que je me pose, si tu sais, est-ce que ça c'est la limite de réflexion qu'on a? Parce qu'il y en a quand même pas mal des réflexions à faire possibles. Quinzième, ok. Parce que ça, ce serait bien. J'ai bien envie de le faire, mais bon, perdre 2 en projection analytique, ça me ferait chier, quoi. Genre. Et puis bon, faudrait un point de talent pour oublier aussi, donc... C'est blanc, enduré, sans... Ok. Je suis un homme de gauche, je suis un patriote. Enfin, s'il y a que la petite personne qui a un braquage, un peu parenté, quoi. Je suis plus de gauche que vous. C'est encore une de vos manœuvres aussi nos corrompre. Et à gauche et à droite, j'écoute mon cœur. Menteux, quoi. Je suis une de vos manœuvres pour essayer de nous corrompre. Je pense ni à gauche ni à droite.
What does your heart tell you about your lost gun, Harry? Does it tell you to forget about it? Or do you think it wants to be found? I think it's lonely and cold. I think it wants to be found, and I have a proposal for you.
En débloquer au-dessus. Ok. Donc je peux tous les faire potentiellement? Ah mais du coup il faut des points de... Parce que là c'est débloquer, après faut que je les débloque. Mais, genre c'est limité à 3, 6, 9, 12 réflexions ou tu peux en faire bien plus? Parce que là 12, ouais non ça ferait même pas le premier truc.
And what would this entail?
Once again, I require nothing unethical or illegal of you. You just need to get 2 little signatures on this piece of paper, and then mail it to my accountant in La Delta.
Quoi serviront ces signatures?
I'm glad you asked, Harry. The Union is going to build a modern youth centre in Martinez. It will be righteous. We're gonna get those teenagers off drugs, and on roller skates. There's a nameless little street on the coast with some old houses around it. Most people have already signed. I just need 2 more signatures to get this mission off the ground, Harry.
D'accord, merci pour l'info. Carré là-dessus, document actuel.
They are just gonna have to deal with the construction noise for 6 months, and then they'll be living like kings. Right next to a fancy new youth centre, designed by the best architects from Stella Marie. On the coast, Harry, across the canal. There's a cul-de-sac there, a little village they're calling it. A gloomy place. You'll find it. I trust your detective skills, Harry.
Water drips from the eaves. A woman looks at her freshly tarred skiff. There's a pair of cavalry boots under the fish in the box, and the wind howls like a vicious spirit.
Qu'en pensez-vous, Kim?
It depends. I don't think what we just got from Mr. Clare was very useful.
But, he thinks, it's your call.
As I said, it weighs on me heavily. But once we get really talking, well, I'm going to hand you the keys to Martinez, and maybe even help you figure out who's behind this killing.
Je passe par là, je leur demanderai.
You bring joy to my heart, Harry. Such a pleasure to be working with you. Here. You need to get signatures from Isabel Sadie and Lillian Carter. The cul-de-sac is right past the pawn shop and across the canal. I hear there is some trouble with the waterlock, but they should fix it by Wednesday morning. Once you have the signatures, mail this to 13022 La Rocca in La Delta. Then we can talk about your gun.
Okay.
See you soon, Debarger. Just kidding. But
What's this? We're getting reports of normal, reasonable, temperate, political opinions somewhere in Martinez.
Confondu, je suis un extrémiste. Tout à fait, je suis sûr, c'est un il faut bien que quelqu'un s'emploie de calmer les esprits. Parce que je réponds toujours à aucune des réponses précédentes dans le sondage depuis empathique, pareil. Non, il faut bien que quelqu'un s'emploie de calmer les esprits.
The air suddenly feels calmer, more transparent in a strangely tender way. Perhaps it's the hangover. Perhaps it's a temporary surge of serotonin. But something tells you it's time to become a citizen of the Kingdom of Conscience.
C'est où le royaume de la conscience?
It is not a place. It is a moment in time that can only arise in the right circumstances. In all of human history, it's only been achieved a handful of times.
Comment faire pour réunir ces conditions?
Incrementally.
Pas palier, ok.
Yawn. You'd get there faster with a little speed. History's greatest catastrophes have been brought about by people trying to make the world a better place. Too quickly. That's the genius of Dolores Day. She recognized that progress is meaningless if its gains are lost because of instability. Real, lasting change can only come about gradually, increment by increment.
Qu'en est-il des problèmes à régler maintenant?
Tisk tisk. Just because you live in the present doesn't mean you have the right to place your needs above the needs of the future. You may never live to see the kingdom of conscience. Your children may not. Even your grandchildren might not. But that's no excuse not to keep working. What a fucking joke.
Tout le monde, quel est le but de conscience, faire avancer les choses ou maintenir le statu quo?
Do you believe the status quo is preferable to chaos and bloodshed?
Oh oui, oui.
There you have it. Sometimes holding the line is progress.
D'accord, mais à quoi ressemble le royaume de conscience?
The kingdom is difficult to comprehend, and even more difficult to describe. Partly because humanity will need to discard many of the categories that define and limit it today. The kingdom of conscience is post-capitalist, post-national. It's also post-industrial, post-ideological, and even post-sexual.
Allez, ça a l'air d'avoir allons-y de ce pas.
Slow down, Mr. Reasonable. Did you miss the part about compromising and taking things slow?
Ah, donc en tout cas, il faut s'armer de patience.
That's right. Remember, real democracy is just around the corner for Revachol. When that real democracy kicks in, a long time from now, we are all going to be so much happier.
Ok. Et c'est quoi du coup? Même la conscience. Flot d'atomisme temporaire. Parce que ça, c'est pas des... Ça, c'est juste des malus temporaires, on est d'accord, hein, c'est pas permanent, les... Après, ça me donnera d'autres bonus. Ok, ouais. Vas-y, royaume, allez, hop, interroger. Interagir. J'en peux penser à l'aide du bouton interagir. Je pense que c'est pour qu'ils signent les gens.
You take the legal documents out of the envelope. A 12 to 40 month construction period and the zoning plan in the addendum.
Alors, je peux augmenter la logique, vas-y, on va augmenter la logique. 42%.
There doesn't seem to be anything of interest here.
Putain
No
de merde.
fine print. You're smart. You can read.
Je suis mauvais. Je rate tous mes jets, putain de merde. Juste envie de voir aussi la carte, parce qu'avec la logique, j'ai pas augmenté un truc. Prendre un poussière, non. Ouais, non, je boche, mais ouais. Allez, on se tire. Je vais peut-être voir la jardinière pour lui dire qu'elle peut accéder à sa serre maintenant aussi. Pas moyen de grimper ici? Non, j'ai pas l'impression. Il y a rien de nouveau là? Non. Et voilà.
Snow is quietly covering the numerous wine bottles and cigarette butts on the ground. Someone partied really hard here.
C'est moi qui ai fait ça?
Well, yes, I think we can say with relative confidence that it was you.
Oh mais je me suis bourré la gueule partout, putain. Mais je suis pas encore entièrement convaincu que c'était faire une mission de reconnaissance en faisant pas.
Yes, this looks pretty advanced, alright. For now, let's just move on.
Oh, quel alcoolique fini mon personnage, putain. Hop là. Je sais pas pourquoi des fois il y a le cercle blanc mais il n'y a rien autour qui s'apparaît. Ouais non, je Je ne sais pas. Hop. La friterie, c'est bon, on va parler avec la jardinière. Hop.
I can't believe it's snowing again. It felt like springtime just a few days ago.
Le corps est parti.
Like, gone?
Dans quoi elle se trouve ailleurs maintenant?
In heaven? Thank you, officer. Looks like I'll get mint in the ground by April.
Ok. Journal, bon, l'éclus, c'est pas pour tout de suite. Obtenir de signatures pour avoir, c'est pas pour tout de suite aussi. Une chanson triste sur une bande. J'ai récupéré une chanson, mais je sais pas si elle est triste. On va aller voir dans le... Est-ce que je peux ouvrir ça?
Hello again, sweetie.
J'ai besoin d'argent, vous pourriez m'en donner?
Oh, sweetie, I heard your conversation with the manager about your financial troubles. When do you get your next paycheck?
If she could, this woman would feed and clothe you and every other sad, lost person on this earth. You've got guns of steel and a chiseled jaw, somewhere under the bloated alcohol layer. Maybe she'd like to sponsor you.
Oh mon dieu, mais oh putain, quand on peut être un connard, on a plein de points pour réussir. Enfin vas-y, 97%. Vas-y.
Your deportment remains dignified as you
J'ai
shed a
2-2 et j'ai
single
réussi.
manly tear.
C'est dur pour moi de demander ça à qui que ce soit d'ailleurs. Je fais boulot et quelques centaines, mais donc.
Sweetie, I only have a few cents on me, but I could give you this to pawn. Just to tide you over.
Wonderful. He has a pin.
The pin is round and slightly tarnished. 3 sailboats in bas-relief with the sun hovering over the water behind them. A chipped green banner at the bottom reads, San Baptiste, Summer 31, Dinghy Races.
Merci, là, ça me sera très utile.
You're quite welcome, dear.
Est-ce que ça vaut de l'argent au moins? 3 $. Vaut pas grand chose. On va la garder.
Can I help you?
En fait, je vais me faire un karaoké ici.
Absolutely out of the question.
Absolutely in the question. First we find a sad banger. Then we sing this place to shit.
Est-ce qu'il y a moyen que... Tentez de le passer bien ici. Ouais.
Can
Pourquoi de
I
l'argent?
help you?
Pourquoi ça, c'est l'argent que je dois?
Yes. Have you got it?
Je dois combien?
A
déjà?
lot. For the room and broken window? 100 Like what?
Ouais. Je vois pas trop ce qu'il y a de plus à faire là. Parce que la maison hantée, je peux pas rentrer dedans. Ah, y a plus la gamine. Ah, mais attends, on peut explorer. J'ai pas exploré la partie nord. Ah non, mais c'est le truc à... Pour voir au loin. Pas besoin de ça. J'ai pas exploré. Putain, en fait, je me dis qu'à chaque fois que je vois des bières au sol, c'est que c'est mon personnage qui les a mis en fait. Qu'est-ce que c'est ça? Oh! Suggestion claire obscure. Manteau de marin bleu. Ok. Tiens, un cas d'une moto en réparation des outils pour les désassembler. Ok.
Hey,
Appartement
up
que ça.
here, Piggo.
Ok. Oh, celle qui a renversé la peinture. Merde, hop. Tout prendre, hop. Et l'endroit de la construction. En construction, il y a un bail. De morale. J'ai plein de soins pour le moral, mais pas pour pas pour la santé. Ah, je réservé aux résidents de la rue, ok. Des ombres sur l'eau, des plantes vertes sur la surface paisible. La chambre Verling n'est plus beaucoup plus grande que ce voilier.
A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Good evening, officers. I'm Joyce.
En guise de salutation.
Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM.
On a entendu lui serre la main.
I'm glad to see you here.
Main est
I
froide.
was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
Grande
There's a
compétence.
trace of irony in his voice. Mischief, even. The lieutenant is hatching some scheme.
How interesting.
Un
I
point,
wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group.
It's hard to get a read on her precise disposition, but she appears helpful.
Vous êtes sur un bateau.
Why, yes I am.
Le pont sur le pied, voile verte et blanche. au-dessus de la tête. Il y a beaucoup de gens sur ce bateau. Il y a beaucoup de gens en bateau, non?
Of course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around?
Attendez, on est sur un archipel.
Yes, we are. We are on Le Caillou.
On va éviter de passer pour un con, compris à propos de bateau.
She nods attentively.
Je vais conclure en savoir sur ce bateau.
Good.
Parlez-moi de Wildpine, que faites-vous chez eux?
What we do. I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking.
Alors que fait le groupe?
The Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. See those airships there, blinking? Those are the shipping side of things.
Okay.
And that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms.
Combien d'argent possède Wildpine?
I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year, the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue.
Ah.
A billion?
Impressionnant.
20 billion is a large number, but the conglomerate employs 72,000 people. They all need to be paid. Then there are capital improvements, interest payments. A conglomerate the size of the Wild Pines is like a shark. If it stops moving, it will die. Then what becomes of those 72,000 families? It's a tremendous responsibility.
D'où sortent ces milliards?
They started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samaran and Insulindian Isolas 250 years ago, when Pine ships explored the South Seminese and charted Lomantang on behalf of the suzerain.
Okay.
Centuries of care, deliberation, and madness have gone into this endeavour. Vessels pass through the Great Unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it.
Non, c'est ce que je voulais savoir, pas d'autre chose.
She nods.
Que vous pouvez me dire sur cette grève?
Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets.
Une seconde, et si je veux savoir un peu sur les secrets commerciaux?
First, you'd have to repeal the Emergencies Act of Trade in Elements. That gives me the right to silence. It's quite the octopus.
Comment je fais pour l'abroger alors?
Why? By throwing off half a century of foreign domination under the Coalition. Unfortunately for you, the Coalition also leases you the right to police West Revachol. But I am derailing us. You wanted to know about the strike.
Quel est votre rôle précisément?
I believe the official title is Senior Labour Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer.
Ouais, négociant en gros.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place. Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 2-meter-20 racist behemoth blocking the gates.
Ah, on va lui parler de George Caboche.
Yes, Jean-Luc Measurehead.
Comment se passaient les discussions avant le lâchage?
Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM.
But the strike began in December.
Ça fait 3 mois, putain.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike?
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive.
Ah, ils veulent des heures supplémentaires payées. Aïe aïe aïe. C'est compliqué hein, pour eux pour payer les grosses entreprises. Hein. Qu'est-ce qui est arrivé à ce Gaumont?
Mr. Clare told him to... How did he put it? Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see.
Oh, je vois.
Yes. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the union.
Sounds like usual aggressive posturing.
Quelles sont leurs revendications, du coup?
There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Every worker, a member of the board.
Surcueillis, hyper agressifs. On dirait qu'ils savent comment mener à bien les affaires.
In its defense, another said, demand democracy. Pretty tame stuff compared to every worker, a member of the board.
Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire, en fait?
It's quite simple, you see. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision, about what? About anything, really, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal.
Ah oui. D'accord. Ouais, c'est comme les votes de l'ONU où il faut que tout le monde soit en mode ok, on accepte ce projet. Et à chaque fois, il y a un mec qui est en mode non, je refuse, je mets mon veto. Hop là.
Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group.
Vraiment avoir longue vie au travailleur, je dois admettre que ça c'est marrant.
They're having a blast. But how can they afford it? After 4 months, my assumption was they would prefer a more practical solution.
Qu'allez-vous faire?
I'm not sure. Naturally, I assume that was just their opening position. A hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery. But there's been no follow-up, just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags. A disastrous situation if there ever was one.
100% elle est au courant, elle.
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
Qui vous a parlé de ce lynchage?
I first heard it from the boyer at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, call me mañana.
This checks out.
Bon, rapport, c'est vous qui les avez envoyés?
The scabs? You mean the huddled masses of Jamrock, come to plead for work where the union refuses to? If they were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company secret. I could not share it with you. Not right now, at least.
Ouais. Que pensez-vous d'Evrard?
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first.
Maman.
Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood.
Pas du tout parler bien d'Evrard.
He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar.
Appelle, on lui parlait de cet Edgar.
Have you seen him?
Non.
Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does. And when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over.
Okay.
It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues.
Ouais, c'est en mode... bon, je suis pas président, mais je peux même Premier ministre, ok hein. Allez. Qu'en est-il du syndicat lui-même en dehors des frères Clair?
The Daybarders Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. Organised labour at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say?
A mob. The Debarders are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, we are forced to cooperate with them.
Okay.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother. And your opinion, Detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Daybarders Union is...
Préfère ne pas avoir d'opinion sur ces choses.
Of course, officer.
On évite la politique. Encore une chose, elle dit que quelque chose s'est passé lors des élections.
I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the Union. She disappeared.
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore. Or coming to work. Ever. End of story.
Comme c'est bizarre.
Downright haunting, if you ask me. The Wild Pines suspected foul play, but what could they do? It was a union matter. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
J'ai l'impression que Wild Pine ou les deux frères, c'est la peste et le choléra.
We'll be just fine.
Genre t'en as un costard, l'autre qui te montre ouvertement qu'il est corrompu, quoi. Je vais juste regarder c'est quoi le message. Ok. Power Wash. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Ok, ouais, non, c'est juste des questionnaires. Hop. J'ai tout ce dont j'ai besoin. Je rentre dessus.
Of course. How else can I help?
Vous pouvez me dire sur le lynchage?
Quite a few things, I'm afraid. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi, from Precinct 57. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41, Detective Dubois. I'm afraid Harry doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
Oh, and what happened to yours, Detective?
Huh.
Awkwardness washes over the conversation. The woman doesn't like this turn of events.
Vous vous souvenez quand mon collègue a dit que j'ai récemment souffert une crise médicale habituelle? Mon père aussi y est lié. Vous voyez que ça a dire pas son.
See. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode?
La bouffe et sa sauce, je me souviens de rien. Oui.
I can't hear you, darling. Speak up, please.
Aussi, après une nuit de grande consommation d'alcool, j'ai perdu tout souvenir de ma vie et du monde.
Oh dear. Some kind of encephalopathic amnesia. I don't even know how to respond.
Ouais, moi non plus.
I do believe you, naive as that may sound. I simply can't imagine what you gain by faking such a condition.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
Of course, I sympathize, but I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
Fuck.
Hang on. She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement.
Comment puis-je m'en sortir par négociation?
She's a negotiator. Just float a favor at her. Insinuate.
Il doit bien exister un autre moyen pour prouver que je suis de la police.
I will be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my superiors. They're going to want to see something very tangible.
You're in, but expect her to drive a hard bargain.
Genre quoi?
Reports from inside Terminal B suggest it's a hub for the local drug trade. This is an open secret in Martinez. The Union controls the terminal, so it goes to reason.
They're profiting from this trade.
The company has tried looking into this matter before, to no avail. Perhaps someone with your authority and resources might turn over the right stones.
Elle veut des questions sur le sujet.
You can recover your badge, though if I may be blunt with you, it sounds like that may be a lost cause.
Detective, a word in private before we continue.
Un instant, madame, prendre congé. On pourrait aller à la radio.
We should think about calling it a day, maybe. The nights are still miserably cold this time of year.
Encore payer le patron du café pour les dégâts.
You should take care of that, then.
Et j'ai pas d'argent.
Let's talk to him anyway. An officer of the RCM shouldn't be sleeping in the street. We'll figure something out.
Okay.
Though he finds this situation frustrating, he is doing his best to not make you feel any worse than you already do.
Okay.
This is not going quite as I hoped it would, Detective.
Vous attendez au juste.
Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance, and not volunteer us to be her henchman.
Non, je pensais que ça se passait bien.
This woman is running circles around us. She might have known about your misplaced badge all along, or she's simply an adept improviser. Either way, we've played straight into her hands.
He doesn't let it show, but there is a limit to how much the consequences of your unprofessional behavior can cost the investigation.
Proposez-vous que nous n'enquêtions pas sur le trafic de drogue?
No. If there is reasonable suspicion, we must investigate. Otherwise, she could claim we are siding with the Union, or that we are on their take. We'd never hear the end of it. What I propose is, we ask her, then we investigate, briefly. But do not share the outcome of this investigation with her. We tell her it's done, and demand for her information on the lynching.
On interroge ensuite on enquête brièvement et juste mon partage par les stats sur les tech.
It would not hurt if you tried more in the future, yes.
On la voit alors.
You're back. Good.
Quelque chose sur les tatouages.
What can I help you
la
with?
photo. Parlez-moi de ce prétendu trafic de drogue.
It's quite straightforward. Someone is using Terminal B to smuggle raw ingredients from the Samar and Isola into Revachol with the Union's blessing. Wild Pines has suspected it for years.
Ingredients for what, ma'am?
Meth and dextroamphetamine, GBL and various synthetic psychedelics. Honestly, it might be quicker to say what you can't make from the stuff.
Combien les ingrédients sont acheminés? Ça, il y a le terminal.
Yes. After they clear the terminal, we lose track. The actual production is taking place at various sites in and around Jamrock Quarter, north of here.
Wild Pine seems to be well apprised of the local drug trade, ma'am. Do you mean to say the Union also produces the product? Sells drugs, I mean?
We're in logistics. It's our business to know. And no. As far as the company knows, the Union does not produce it. They transport the ingredients for a cut.
Okay. Et vous voulez qu'on enquête là-dessus?
Yes, but you won't get anything out of Everard and the Dock Workers Union. Still, every chain has its weak link. The lorries. Someone needs to move the ingredients from the harbour into the city. Once they reach Jamrock, they're distributed to a network of local manufacturers, well beyond our grasp. But in transit, they are vulnerable.
Le mec il disait qu'il transportait des jogging et autres, peut-être que c'est de la drogue qu'il transporte.
Perhaps you've noticed that a number of lorries are tangled in a traffic jam at the roundabout just now. Interview the drivers who are still hanging about. One of them might be waiting for a crucial shipment. I'll be explicit. If you find this driver, I will share company secrets with you.
You'll be indebted to her, in a way, but one step ahead of the Union in another.
Je vais regarder si on concerne l'enquête sur la contrebande.
Yes?
On s'occuper de son des chauffeurs et voir ce que ça mène.
Excellent. According to my reports, there are at least 3 lorry drivers lingering near the roundabout. Hopefully one of them will know something. It may come to nothing, or it may just blow the case wide open. I suspect the traffic jam won't disperse for a few more days. You should have the time you need. In the meantime, let me know if there's any other way I may be of assistance.
C'est quelque chose sur ces tatouages?
That's the man who was killed. I'm afraid this is a discussion for once we've cleared the lynching question.
Donc c'est quelque chose sur les tatouages.
Better not tie the fourth day to the backstay on this. I hope there is something else I can help you with.
She wants to answer the question. Protocol keeps her from it.
Intelligente, et j'ai besoin qu'on me donne les dernières infos sur cette réalité dans laquelle nous devrions.
This reality.
Il y a un épisode médical, j'ai du mal à me rappeler les termes.
Ah, yes, the episode. Sounds like an acute case of encephalopathy, now that I think of it.
Don't be phased, madame. He functions perfectly well. He only needs a lowdown on all of reality.
We may be here a while then. Ask away, officer. I'll help however I can.
All right, you're in. Begin with the first one. You'll appear worldly.
Quel temps vivons-nous?
These are unimportant times, Detective. You and I were born after the dust had settled. 1,000th of a second too late.
Trop tard, pourquoi?
For the big time.
C'est quoi le grand moment?
The revolution.
Ah, ok, donc c'est la révolution dont j'arrête pas d'entendre parler.
It's quite easy. Every 100 years or so, our species gets together to decide what's next, who gets shot in the head, and who gets the mineral rights. It's a real kerfuffle.
Ah, c'est parlé de cette époque.
They are what they are. Anyway, enough sentimentality. Is there anything else you want to know?
C'est quoi? Pensez à quelque chose qui vous tient à cœur. Putain.
6 kilometers southwest, in the Valley of Dogs, Junior Officer Chad Tilbrook takes aim at a rabid black dog licking its wounds in the grass.
D'accord.
To his left, his partner, Emil Mullins, whispers, "You heard what happened to Tequila Sunset in Martinez?"
Ok.
"Yes, he lost his mind," Tilbrook answers, fingers on the trigger. "Don't worry, Emil." He pulls it out slowly. "We always do."
Qui suis-je?
You? You're an officer of the RCM.
Amie citoyenne de la Chaval.
Preciso mundo.
Amie citoyenne de la Chaval, c'est quoi?
Nothing more nor less than the de facto law enforcement body of post-revolutionary Revachol, Detective.
Yes, we are the Revachol Citizens Militia.
Elle dit de facto?
Yes, that means not de jure. The RCM acts in what is poetically called the twilight of international law, both at the behest of the coalition government and to its chagrin.
Que voulez-vous dire?
The RCM's responsibilities are defined by the Emergency, Wayfarer and Aliments Acts, 3 pieces of legislation keeping the city in a, let's be honest, laissez-faire stasis to the benefit of foreign capital.
Ok.
All 3 are good to know when we are out policing.
Je suis dans le laquais des capitaux.
There's nothing basic about your role, Detective. It's true that the RCM keeps everything the way our seemingly permanent, provisional rulers like it.
Ok.
Yet, on the other hand, I know these people. I deal with them daily. Let me tell you, dear, they are not fans of you.
Pourquoi?
The post-revolutionary decade was a disaster for the coalition government. Revachol in the 20s was hell, especially on the west side of the river. Gang warfare, a botched privatization scheme, a nuclear pile meltdown.
Ah oui.
They called it the international zone because no nation wanted to claim responsibility. The RCM restored peace where the coalition failed. A true blue citizens' initiative. They will never forgive you.
D'accord.
That's somewhat of an exaggeration. In reality, ours is a mutually beneficial arrangement. Revacholians get to keep the peace in Revachol, and the coalition doesn't have to worry about it. Anyway, sorry to intrude. Please...
Yes, Lieutenant. Permit me to conclude with this. Who you are, to me, is the police. The only legitimate law enforcement authority in Revachol.
Merci, madame.
And if those authorities drink so hard they need help recalling the basic terms of reality, well, I'm here to help.
Conceptualisation 1, on va pas essayer.
Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know.
Vous avez l'air riche, je peux avoir un peu d'argent?
Is what you want to say.
Attends,
but it isn't that easy, is it? Look at that lady. Take a gander. Squint your eyes, bub. Why, yes. Tucked away under that sturdy green raincoat, almost rustic in its simplicity, a silk shirt and matching scarf around her gentle throat, while dull orange pearls hang from her earlobes, red from the cold. Her light green eyes scan you, full of knowledge and worry, wealth and all its possibilities.
Ouais, alors.
Now look at you, you misery-clad simian, barely able to tie your own laces. Your armpits are lakes. A scythe of booze precedes you.
Ok, je perds
Your
rien
hair
c'est un
sticks
lancer
to your
blanc.
forehead, and your underwear feels uncomfortable. You're poor, poor as balls. You can't ask this person for money. You're too. Maybe you could ask her for some stock tips. That's a maybe. Oh God, the lieutenant is here too. Do not dishonor the force.
As I was saying, if there's any way I may be of assistance, please don't hesitate to ask.
Attends, on va voir. Question pour vous
More lessons in basic reality?
Okay,
my favorite part of...
A strange coldness comes over you as you look at the world. The waves sway the sloop slowly. That's all.
Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know.
Et ça c'est un lancer blanc du coup, quand c'est entouré en blanc, quand c'est comme ça. Du coup, je vais juste fermer les volets. Je reviens de petites secondes. Bon voilà, hop, ça, on tire le rideau. Vas-y, on est un giga clodo. Je peux avoir de l'argent non, c'est indiqué en dessous. Quel type de lancer c'est? Ceci est un lancer blanc, il peut être tenté. Ok, d'accord.
Voila, you're doing it.
Let's go.
Really put your back into it. Yell it from the top of your lungs.
Argent. Vous avez l'air riche. Je peux avoir un peu d'argent?
Why, yes, I am rich. How much money do you need? Hopefully not too much. I couldn't bring all of it with me.
She's surprisingly nonchalant about this. Could it be that she somehow knows more about your predicament than she's letting on?
J'ai besoin de 100 réals.
That's a good sum. Not too small. Not fantastically large.
Qu'elle envoie des billets papier disposant comme si essayait de brancher.
She removes a few notes and hands them to you. The paper is cold and oily to the touch. Whoa, whoa. Did you see how easy that was? Ask her for more. Toot toot. Train to Moneytown.
Non, 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 ce serait déshonorant et mon honneur.
Can you eat honor? Are you an omnivore? Give me a break.
So, I hope I didn't just bribe you, officer. It may not be technically illegal under the Emergency Act, but still.
Je suis en train de collecter ce concept d'argent. J'ai pas fait que m'aider dans mes réflexions.
You're right, ma'am, that donations are permitted under the Emergency Act, unseemly as it may be, as long as they are properly logged with the precinct.
Which he most certainly will do.
Merci, ça
now,
pour le
how else can I help the RCM today? Of course, detective.
Let's go, on a pris 100 balles. On va pouvoir payer les dommages. Hop. On ira en haut après, demain plutôt. Payer les dégâts, hop. Hop. Vêtements, c'est quoi que j'ai eu? Il y a eu suggestion, ça remplace quoi? Ça remplace ça, ok. Ça me fait suggestion clair-obscur et ça me fait esprit frisson. Donc on va laisser les deux, hop. Putain, j'ai vraiment l'air d'un clodo avec mon pied de biche et mon sac à bière. Hop. On va aller ici. Pour avoir le gérant du café, lui payer les dégâts, potentiellement négocier. Hop.
Can I help you?
Pourquoi tu dans le jeu doigt?
Yes. Have you got it?
Ah, si on peut pas trouver une sorte de petit arrangement pour ce
Does
soir.
that arrangement include you paying me what we already agreed you owe me?
Kim.
I understand your predicament as the manager. However, I feel I must remind you that we are here to conduct an important investigation that also affects your business.
Forgive me for saying this, but your colleague seems more committed to drinking, and...
He shrinks back a bit under the lieutenant's severe gaze.
I mean no offense. It's really nothing personal. I just have to protect the interests of this establishment.
Pas celui du toujours ma clé, vous savez.
Good luck trying to use it.
Il me pose un coup de pied.
All the locks have an electronic component. They have to be unlocked down here with a master key before your guest key will open the lock.
Oh fuck, c'est dans de nulle part, n'est-ce pas?
Not until you bring me the money.
Okay, I might have something in my motor carriage we can use when you're done here.
I really didn't want to resort to this. The man is thinking.
Oh, Lieutenant, we're done here. Yes, well.
J'espère que tu feras avec. Il y en a pour le dérangement. Attendez, pour le dérangement.
Great. Thank you, officer. That's all I wanted. Payment for services rendered. If you continue to stay here, I just ask that you please pay your nightly bill in advance starting tomorrow.
He's not sorry about his behavior for your sake. Now that you have money, he really wants to make sure you're not angry with him.
The electronic lock to your room has been disabled till 9 p.m. tomorrow. Please pay for each night in advance starting tomorrow. 20 real per night.
I'll take a room here too.
Of course. Always happy to have officers from the RCM as guests.
Pas payer pour moi pour les autres nuits, Kim, par hasard. C'est juste par pur besoin, hein, c'est rien de plus. Carte. Ben non, oui, ça c'est le... si je veux péter, mais ça sert à rien. Hop. Ok, fenêtre brisée. Avec projection analytique. Ok. Bon, on peut retourner dans la chambre.
The door is closed. This door can still the lieutenant give. He doesn't like where this is.
Hey, what is your problem?
That felt good. You slam your fist into the vinyl. It does not produce a hole. Not to mention, great exercise.
Stop that.
Je suis obligé.
Kingdom of Conscience.
Homme de la conscience.
The Kingdom of Conscience will be exactly as it is now. Moralists don't really have beliefs. Sometimes they stumble on one, like on a child's toy left on the carpet. The toy must be put away immediately, and the child reprimanded. Centrism isn't change, not even incremental change. It is control over yourself and the world. Exercise it. Look up at the sky, at the dark shapes of the coalition airships hanging there. Ask yourself, is there something sinister in moralism? And then answer, no. God is in his heaven. Everything is normal on earth.
Ok, ça me donne quoi comme bonus? Voix des dialogues moralistes sur 3, un plus de morale. Volonté de l'apprentissage passe à 5, logique passe à 5, ok. Sage, ok. Ok. Oh, c'est pas mal. Ah! Moraliste, surtout un plus en moral. Ah, ça permet d'éviter de voir ici des trucs de soin, du coup. Ça, c'est bien. Non, hop.
This is the door to the room you redecorated.
Just a moment. We should talk about our progress on the investigation.
Bien,
let's go.
allons-y.
The air outside is brisk. The lieutenant is silent for a moment. He listens to the traffic hum. Then...
Puis...
Now then, we should talk about the investigation. But I also feel you're a bit hazy on the RCM. Our role here, our rights, our jurisdiction, basically.
T'avais pas que vous fumiez, Kim?
I have a cigarette every night when I go over my notes. It's something of a ritual.
Oh man, he looks so devastatingly cool with that cigarette.
Pas tomber dans la chaud. Attends, t'as de l'alcool à boire. C'est une tâche, mais j'ai pas envie de la faire. L'argent pour payer GRT, ouais. Alors on a Kim, ok. Comment est-nous devenu si cool?
You mean this? This isn't cool. It's an unnecessary trial of will, and unhealthy.
Keeping the habit within the parameters he's given himself takes a lot of focus. It would be easier to simply quit.
Oh, c'est briefing, on parle de conversation.
Yes. It's been a long and eventful day.
Que pensez-vous du déroulement de la journée?
Well, we inspected the victim's body, so that's good. It was not easily approachable in that state, but we did it.
Okay.
Our inspection could have been more thorough, as it always can, but we have some leads we can follow up on. In addition, we got that body down from the tree, and we performed a field autopsy on the victim. We found some things we can really work with. I still feel like we missed something, but maybe the boys in processing will surprise us. We still have work to do at the crime scene. Now, as for interviews, my list of people to talk to here in Martinez, I mean.
On point fort. Contrairement à la plupart des filles, je comprends la portion des communications de métier. Là, oui, on a parlé des gens. J'aurais préféré ne pas avoir à faire notre attente. Oui, dans son point fort.
Very important indeed. Well, we conducted an interview with Everard Clare. He wasn't particularly forthcoming with useful information, however.
Je suis sûr que je peux lui tirer les verres du nez.
We tried to interview the Wild Palms rep, but she asked us to do something for her first. Fine, so be it. I have a feeling Joyce knows how dangerous the situation really is. We have to get her to talk to us.
Okay.
Above all, though, today was exhausting. What's with all the running? You run a lot. Is that a standard Precinct 41 practice?
I have a really good theory about why you're running so fast, son. Just you wait until we get up tomorrow.
Pas perdu de temps, vous savez, mon esprit agit. Je reste essayer de suivre.
It's impressive, especially for a man your age. And in those hills. Nice shoes, by the way. I like the green. Goes with the orange.
Chaussures en peau de serpent et souris. Quels sont les pouvoirs de la policière exactement?
They're quite limited, actually. The power officers of the Revachol Citizens Militia exercise most frequently is imposing fines of up to 1,000 real for offenses, in accordance with an interdepartmental schedule.
1000, c'est tout?
The RCM's primary role is to ensure safety. We are not really supposed to play any part in the economic structure of Revachol.
Ah, mais dans l'économie structurale de nos poches, ça peut être bien, hein, ne serait-ce pas un abus de pouvoir dont il serait facile d'abuser?
Yes, although indirectly, as citizens can always request records from their local station.
Continue.
Officers of the RCM have been known to take bribes of less than the prescribed fine amount. It undermines trust in the RCM.
D'accord, quoi d'autre?
We can arrest people, of course, but rather than bringing someone in directly, it's preferable to serve a station call slip. It prevents confusion and overcrowding.
Dans les camps, on peut être sûr que la personne arrêtée se présentera.
You can't. Those who don't show up become fugitives, though, and have fewer legal rights when they are eventually caught. It's about power projection. Thus far, they seem to mostly show up.
When power calls you, you come. But power itself is a fragile trick of perception.
Ok, je vois ici quelqu'un résiste.
We are permitted to use whatever force we deem necessary, even lethal.
Donc si je tue quelqu'un en service...
You have to supply compelling evidence for why it was necessary to use lethal force. In these cases, your partner is usually your witness.
Okay.
Not a good position to be in, by the way. Internal Affairs handles these cases thoroughly, by cross-examining you for inconsistencies. It is hard to cover for anyone,
okay.
Which is for the best.
As déjà tué quelqu'un?
Yes. The last time was 4 years ago.
Okay.
He says it matter-of-factly, and moves on.
Parce que j'ai déjà tué quelqu'un.
That's an improbability. Perhaps even impossibility.
Of course you've killed people. It's somewhere down there, melting in all the drink.
J'ai pas vraiment fait.
Precinct 41 is known for a higher than average rate of police violence.
D'accord.
He's not judging you. He's respectfully acknowledging the difficulty of working in your precinct.
Quand les jours où j'ai pas perdu mon flingue, je peut-être bute des gens. Qu'arrive-t-il aux personnes que nous condamnons?
We don't convict. We arrest and send them to coalition government courts in Courron and La Delta. The prosecution works off our testimonies and records, which is why it's paramount to keep them.
Garde ses notes. Ah oui, mon bloc-notes qui était à la poubelle. C'est le gouvernement de la coalition qui fixe les règles.
And the moral intern, more broadly. But yes.
C'est quoi la morale interne?
The Moralists International are the world's largest political organization. You know who they are. They have been running this place after the revolution failed.
Je ne sais pas comment le décrire à vous.
They're a union of center-left and center-right parties across the real belt. Our coalition government is just one of its many projects. They also run the ICP, EPIS, most intergovernmental organizations in the world.
En quoi croit-il?
What do they believe in? They are Dolorians. They believe they continue the humanist project set forth by Her Innocence Dolores Day 4 centuries ago. Others say they are just technocrats.
J'ai envie de voir juste... Ah ok. Ok, faut que je déverrouille ça. Pensez un peu de talent pour déverrouiller un nouvel emplacement. Ok, d'accord. Quel est leur symbole?
Interesting question. It's a blue forget-me-not. Their motto is love, compassion, self-discipline. I think you can gauge what they want you to think of them from that.
Something ominous.
Ah, c'est inquiétant.
Something even a little feminine, but in a strict manner.
Qui était Dolores Day?
A historic figure? The author of the modern age? You will have to look elsewhere for opinions. The subject of humanism is too abstract for me.
For you, she is something painful, though it's hard to say why.
Que pensez-vous d'eux?
The moral intern are a fact. I try not to have opinions on facts until they change. And it doesn't look like that's about to happen.
It is more than that. There's some kind of affection in him.
Vous aimez la morale interne?
Yes, I did, when I was younger. In my 20s, I considered myself a moralist. A blue forget-me-not, a piece of the sky. They're not all that bad. But the years have changed that. I don't know what I believe in now. No, I believe in the RCM. That's enough for me.
La loi, c'est moi. J'ai un avis sur la morale interne conclu.
Do you?
Quand ça dit montrer la ville, on a besoin d'eux ici. Comme ça, ils pourraient nous donner... Notifier, non, ils emmerdent ici. Sandra, c'est pas l'humanisme. Les urbains de la plus grande sont bourgeoisie, bon, qui protège les droits de la bourgeoisie. En silence, immigrés qui libéreront les putains d'hommes qui sont sans en femmes. En réfléchissant bien, je n'ai pas d'opinion, oubliez ça. Non, je pense que... On a eu l'arbin, hein.
No. We are stooges of the world's biggest bourgeois organization, protecting the people of Revachol. That's the hand we were dealt. Without the MI, we would be common vigilantes.
Ouais, même pas ça.
Sadly, it is what we already are to the people of Martinez, most of them at least, especially the Union. Vigilantes. I expect our job here to prove quite challenging.
The lights of the orphan district are reflected in his glasses, the red and golden orbs of the motorway sliding like pearls on a string, from east to west, as Revachol commutes back to the suburbs. Tomorrow is Tuesday. Monday is over.
Demain c'est mardi, la journée de lundi prochain. Ok, donc il faudra encore un jour pour pouvoir accéder à l'écluse. Lundi avant qu'on se tente de ça la nuit.
The dying lights of the city shimmer below. Slowly, like luminous clouds, they pass on his lenses. The lieutenant looks at his slim cigarette, contemplating this soldier is the highlight of the day for me, he thinks. This little stick right here.
They really don't like us here. And the mouth on that kid, Kuno. It's different in land, in Jamrock and the GRIH.
Pourquoi ils sont comme ça?
It's our fault for leaving this place to the dogs, to the Union, to the company. Not daring to come here more often. This place has fallen between the cracks. the jurisdictions of our 2 precincts.
Je me moque au PIGR.
We run this city. West of the river is RCM land.
Oh, il y a une monument et caisse qui se découpe dans le ciel.
It's incredibly hard. Human beings are... But we are in control, and it's worth it. The organization works. Our systems work. If they didn't, the city would disintegrate.
Night. Captain Ptolemy Price steps into the yard. A piebald horse waits by the motor carriage, chewing oats out of an oat bag. Seagulls fly overhead. The sky is black. Captain Price wears a black suit and a standard patrol coat as he mounts the horse to head home.
Okay.
Rows of houses on either side, hunching over the sidewalks, and Precinct 41 with its dome roof growing distant. Around him, the streets are silent. The kid on the corner waves at the captain as he takes the turn on Petition and Main. The horse neighs. The captain nods back. Thanks, kid, he thinks.
On contribue à améliorer la situation ici, au moins à faire un peu de bien.
Me too. But I wouldn't count on any drastic changes in our lifetimes.
Merci.
Yeah, it's getting very cold now. Let's go.
Ok. Fin. Y a rien d'autre ici, y a rien d'autre ici, ok. Nickel. Allez, bonne nuit, Kim. À demain. Ciao. Est-ce que je peux analyser
The window stands broken in its frame. Cold
72%, s'il te plaît, oui.
Face outward. Whatever broke this window came from the inside.
Non, ça a l'air d'être une balle.
A fine web of scarring covers the back of your right hand, but none of it is recent.
Qui a fait ça alors?
More likely a projectile than a held object. There are no fragments on the floor from pulling a tool back in after impact.
Seconde, qu'est-ce que j'ai fait?
Something you've done before.
Vous avez mis la taille de l'impact, envoyé les cailloux.
It is too large for a bullet, yet too small for a piece of furniture. You're looking for something heavy and larger than your fist.
Caillou?
The shoe you found on the balcony fits the hole almost as well as your foot. It would have also been heavy enough if thrown with force. Congratulations. You smashed the window with your own shoe.
C'est vraiment idiot de faire ça.
Pretty much. But hey, at least you found your shoe. Not that it will keep you warm at night. Brr.
Ok. Ça, j'ai toujours pas accès à la pièce là, ouais, non?
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face, adorned with the expression.
Ça, j'ai pas, ok, ouais. Si t'as lancé le... Vas-y, on va tenter.
Your hands, however skillful, can't manage this task on their own. You should get your chain cutters out.
C'est possible de repérer la source de l'expression. Ouais, il faut que j'augmente les trucs là. Ok. Ouais, non, mais on va se reposer.
The bed is cold and not particularly inviting.
Dans ce lit.
But it's yours.
On va appeler ça un lit, bien évidemment.
The sheets feel at once coarse and clammy against your skin. The bed sags beneath your weight as you stretch out and finally close your eyes. And then sleep doesn't. And then sleep doesn't come.
Mais j'ai envie de dormir.
Obviously, you're in bed with your eyes closed, but it's not happening.
Pourquoi?
Maybe it's the bed's fault. Its synthetic filling has separated into hard lumps. The pillowcase smells oddly.
C'est l'alcool encore une fois. Examine la couverture.
It barely covers your toes, stretching over your soft belly. This is your body here, intimate and warm, breathing. Under your thrumming eyelids, you see a dizzying array of colors. You won't get off this carousel quite so easily. It's a little better. Colors, scenes, and half-formed phrases still litter your mind. Part of you is still trying to solve the case, isn't it?
Qui l'a tué, qui?
Something to do with... What was it that the lieutenant said? Union? And it's gone again. Your thoughts lost between the slowing brain waves.
Peut-être penser, c'est l'heure de dormir.
Your breathing steadies. A great silence washes over you until your eyelids twitch in your sleep and images start forming.
Oh, what the fuck? Oh le bad trip. Oh le bad trip.
Do you remember the scent of your childhood?
Sinon l'hôpital, j'en sors, j'ai l'air un peu mourir. Je me souviens de rien.
Do you remember your wife's hand on your face?
Moi ce qui se passe, je ne répondais pas avant de savoir. Tu as dit qui?
Do you remember the warmth of her thighs, between her legs and in her mouth?
Dis-moi ce qui se passe, je ne te répondrai pas avant de savoir qui tu es.
You know who I am. I'm the bad day. The one where you ask her, and then later in the streets, wandering. It's the worst day of all time, Harry dear. And it's coming. She will hear about it on the phone. Reality will turn into a grotesque nightmare. This will be the last thing you did to her. Tell me, do you remember the love of your life?
Je suis parti.
Oh no, Funky baby, you stayed. It was the rest of it that left. Or you just stood there, with one hand on the bottle and the other on your dick, watching it go. Tell me, where are your friends? Human beings have friends, Harry boy. Where the hell are yours?
Je m'en souviens.
No, it's gone. 3 times gone and never coming back. You failed. You failed me. You failed Elysium.
Qu'est-ce qu'Elysium?
Everything. The Pale and the Islas. On the surface. The outer magnetosphere. Burning, furious truth. 8,000 years of written history. You really dropped the ball, Harry. 4.6 billion people. And you failed every single one of them. You really fucked up.
T'es déjà parlé avant?
No, Harry. You were just talking to yourself. That's all you ever do. Even in your dreams. And the act is wearing thin. The spots of the disco ball fade around you. You'll be back in those cold snakeskins in no time, sweating up the bed. Stinky boy. You're not coming back from shit, thrashing around in that high conductivity state of yours, bumping into things and acting like a clown. Who are you kidding?
Essaye de résoudre cette affaire.
You're trying to what? I can't hear you. This is just a word dream now. Jumbled up garbage. The pictures are gone. The bed rises to meet you. A thin, sleep-like state. More glass than velvet, grinding in your head.
So something is wrong. Sleep shouldn't be this bad, this dry, this unnourishing. There's something wrong with your thoughts. Some kind of new
Produit une autre variété.
hangover. Oh yes, party boy, and it's worse than the one before. Just think of the shit you saw. Here it comes too. So soon already. A silent alarm goes off in your head like clockwork. Barely let you sleep at all. Time to get those clothes on, Harry. Time to go to work in the shit factory.
Oh, les bad trips dans la nuit.
Good going, buddy.
Bordel, c'était quoi ça?
Oh, just a dream. You have ones like that all the time. You feel even worse this morning than you did last night.
Qu'est-ce qui tourne pas rond chez moi?
You mean, why are you so tired? Too tired and down to even think? It is worrying, isn't it? You can't be a detective like this. Detectives need to be able to think.
Qu'est-ce qui m'arrive?
It's just that your heart has finally pumped all the speed out of your system, Buster. Time to get some more. Don't do that. Stay strong. The hangover will wear off. You don't need to keep doing this to yourself.
Bon, ça, il m'en faut plus détecter, c'est ma vie. Ah non, ça allait, je vais pas mettre à me chercher du speed.
Are you sure? Ready to live as this pathetic shell of yourself for days? Basically, a week. Let's be honest, 2 weeks. Maybe 3. You won't make it. Half the town will be dead by then. You will be fired.
Je peux très bien y arriver sans speed, personne ne va mourir.
Suit yourself, slow, sad shell man. See how you do without your spark.
Ça va bien se passer, je m'inquiète pas trop.
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall.
Bon, on va s'arrêter là pour aujourd'hui. Le bad trip de la nuit. Hop. Ah, j'ai le dos qui craque. Ah, on continuera l'enquête sûrement demain, en vrai. Hop, sauvegarder. Hop là. On interrogera sûrement les conducteurs de camions. Ah, faut interroger aussi le gamin du coup. Et aussi aller voir à l'arrière de la ville où on est. Mais ouais, on est pas mal dans la merde. On a toujours pas retrouvé notre badge. On a toujours pas notre arme. Il faut faire quoi pour l'autre déjà? Journal, tâche. Ah oui, il faut aller Ah, faut fermer l'écluse, donc faut attendre mercredi pour aller faire signer les trucs pour récupérer notre arme. Pas avant, putain la vache, ça va être long. Hop. Ça va bien sauvegarder. Ça va bien sauvegarder, jour 2, 7h32. Et normalement on est mardi. Allez hop. Menu principal, confirmé. Hop là. Parfait. Bon. Si à cours du monde, je vous dis bonne fin d'après-midi, bonne soirée, bon appétit. Demain, on fera sûrement un peu de Risk of Rain et puis ensuite on fera du Disco Elysium. Ouais, je pense. Ou peut-être du Gallows Spire, à voir. Peut-être du Gallows Spire plutôt que Risk of Rain, on verra bien. Et après du Disco. En attendant, je vous dis des bisous, à la prochaine, et puis so long. Allez hop, arrêtez le stream. Et bonne soirée à toi, Seriam. Hop là, arrêtez le stream.